You are live with King Sigma, and today is the 22nd of August, 2021, and we will be discussing agents of chaos and chaos in the black male spaces in the general manosphere, and my opinions and some of the panelists that will join. My first panelist today will be Mr. Mode 1, Alan Roger Curry, and we'll be discussing a lot of the events in the space over the last week, but also an upload that Alan created on August 20th called "Many Men Have Wealth, Fame, and Social Status and Still Get Played by Women Who Are Savvy Manipulators." So I'll be bringing Alan Roger Curry up in a few minutes, but I kind of just wanted to introduce the discussion by talking about this incident with a fellow by the name of Myron Gaines of Fresh and Fit. It's kind of the breaking news in this space over the last 72 hours for many different reasons. But I want to take a different approach to the discussion because I think this is a big teachable moment for those that call themselves thinking black men. And the reason why it was important that I bring up Alan Roger Curry is because in his upload on the 20th, he made such a great point in regards to the spreading of this pro-prostitution ideology and ideas in the space, and to allow that to go unchallenged, I believe is very dangerous, because we're talking about solicitation, illegality, federal laws, and then we're talking about a time of Me Too, a time of enhanced sex trafficking penalties against those that buy sex, but not those that sell sex. So we're going to be getting to that. But some people are probably curious why I put in the title that was Myron Gaines of Fresh and Fit sent to the Manosphere to entrap black men. Well, there is a content creator by the name of Vanny Media, and he put out the document showing that Myron Gaines is actually a Homeland Security special agent, and one of his areas of expertise is sex trafficking and human smuggling. And I thought that was an angle that I hadn't heard anyone talk about in relation to what Alan was saying about prostitution. So me, just speculating, it seems to be a connection between this promotion of prostitution in these spaces versus full self-development of men. When I came to this space in 2018, that's what attracted me to this conversation. Deep, thoughtful conversation being had amongst my black male peers. And I know that Alan's always been one to talk about effective communication and real confidence. So when I was listening to Alan's upload, I made a note, and he can respond to it when I bring him up. But this was just my own personal note that I made while listening to Alan. And he was talking about tricking and prostitution. So my note says tricking is potentially a crutch for an inability to be sexually charming and charismatic enough to invoke genuine lust and desire in a desired woman. And the other note that I wrote there was because she's fucking somebody for free. So that's what I was thinking when I was listening to Alan. And I'm seeing this rise in this promotion of illegal prostitution. Whereas I have to side with Alan on this and say that it's much better to do all the work necessary to develop yourself into a confident, adaptable male. And if there's a woman that you desire that much that you want to pay, you have to know the risk. I would never come on these airwaves and promote prostitution, understanding the FOSTA and SESTA Act that was signed into law by former President Donald Trump on the 11th of April, 2018. So when that act creates a lot of penalties for those that promote prostitution, especially content creators on platforms, that's what the law was passed for. But then there's an act that was passed back in 1910 that's been on the books for like over 120 years called the Mann Act. And I'm listening to Alan's upload and I'm like, wait. I'm kind of connecting these dots, right? And I'm thinking, okay, if you apply what Alan was saying to the federal laws, the Mann Act and the FOSTA-SESTA Act, if you're a content creator, which is a 1099 employee of Google, you are considered liable under the SESTA Act. and could possibly be charged with white slave trafficking by promoting prostitution in these spaces. Because there's two ways of looking at it. One way is just a general discussion of prostitution, which I'm pro legalizing prostitution, but I understand that prostitution is not legal in 99% of jurisdictions in the United States. So I would never come on here and promote it, but I will promote the overturning of laws that allow women to sell their bodies to men, but then punish the men for buying their bodies. But until that law changes, I would never suggest or do myself promote prostitution on YouTube or any social media spaces, because it can make you liable for criminal penalties later down the line, especially if you're a large content creator. And I think we need to be mindful of this stuff. And I think that's why this Myron Gaines episode is a teachable moment, because here's someone that have 500,000 followers, and with that kind of success comes a lot of responsibility. And we have a lot of responsibility, every one of us, when we come on these airwaves, to be accountable for what we say and understand that as you become a large content creator, your platform becomes regulated by certain laws. So I'm looking deeper into this situation, and I didn't want to, make a comment on it until I had more evidence and felt confident, okay, here's a case that I can make. So I'm going to bring up that form that was downloaded by the brother Vanny Media that shows that this guy Myron Gaines is a special agent. And I think that we have to be mindful that there's a lot of people that want to destroy the anti-misandry sector, okay? Let me say it again. There are millions of people right now. Hollywood, shout out to Dennis Sperlin, and he did a show about that. There are many people that have become aware that we exist now. All of us, all the millions of us compared to the many, many millions of them. And they hear us doing these anti-misandry speeches, bringing evidence against misandry, something that has actually been approved by the mainstream society. And this is just one angle that they might be taking. So again, now we know that there's special agents in this space, and you got to start asking questions. What are they here for? And what are they here to do? And I think that entrapment could be one of the possibilities. Now, when you go and look up in Black Law's dictionary what entrapment means, and that means that the prevailing subjective view of entrapment requires that the particular defendant demonstrate that, but for the objectionable police conduct, he would not have committed the crime. The standard rule is in place, and it says that the police conduct to determine if an ordinary law-abiding citizen would have been persuaded to commit the crime. Now, how does that connect with what Alan said and what we're talking about, special agents? When you have people that are content creators, they're also federal law enforcement officers at the same time, and they're promoting certain kind of ideologies, this is very dangerous. And it could be entrapment, because you're selling the idea that men should pay for sex, and that's illegal in 99% of the United States. And even in the states that's decriminalizing it, you better go look up those laws specifically and find out that that's for the woman selling the sex, not the John. The John will still be punished, even in New York and even in California. So until those laws are changed, I would never suggest that anyone promote prostitution on these airwaves, understanding the law. And I think there's something deeper going on. I think there's a conspiracy to destroy what dozens and dozens of Black men have built before I ever came to this space. And that I appreciate what they did in the last 10 to 12 years, that they've put in work to make it possible for those that are like me, just a regular dude with a regular job, but with opinions on things that happen, and providing a space where we can talk amongst ourselves and become more polished in our talking points and our understanding, and become better men in the process. So when we talk about conspiracy, we're talking about a combination of two or more persons by concerted action to accomplish a goal. And I think that a lot of these people are being, herded into these kind of discussions because people want to put a certain kind of identity on Black men in space. When I came into this space, this whole tricking conversation was minuscule, right? We really talked about the different 9 areas of human activity, but over the last year, it's just kind of exploded. And again, my belief is that tricking is just a cover for a fear of rejection, and that you're not a quality enough man to get a woman that you desire just based off being yourself and having confidence. And I'm not even a person, like I said, when they legalize prostitution, I'll be one of the first person to say go for it. But in this climate, I can't recommend it in an illegal environment. That should be your last resort, because it's so much more fun to go through that self-development and that personal journey to being the best version of yourself. It's so much more fun, because that's what men do. We take on challenges, and there's nothing harder than being a Black American man in the Western world in 2021. So with that said, let me bring up this form that the brother provided, Vanity Media, that shows that we have special agents on some COINTELPRO. There was another one that was called Black Identity Extremist Program that was created by the federal government to sniff out those that fit under what they call Black identity extremists. And there's no reason that that vague title can't be applied to Black men that speak out against misandry or speak out against the PC culture or whatever it may be. So you have to be careful, because with COINTELPRO, the Black Identity Extremist Program, all of us could very well fall in that umbrella. And so we have a lot of guys like that in this space. So let me bring up this form. Okay, I'm going to share the screen with you guys. So I'll read through. I'm just going to read through a little of this form. So this is an actual legal document from the United States District Court in Southern District of Florida, and it has a case number. It's been filed with the clerk of the federal court. This is legitimate. So it says the United States of America versus Sri Kajamukam Chalia as a defendant in this case. Okay, so we see that right there. There's the stamp of the United States Attorney, signature and all, Brian Dobbins, and I've heard that name before. And what shocked me was the date. We're talking about July 17th of 2020. So this is almost, 13 months ago, almost just a little over a year. And so these are the United States District Court documents presented by Attorney Dobbins, and the criminal complaint. Here's a criminal complaint. So it says that the complainant in this case states that the following is true to the best of my knowledge and belief on or about the dates of July 1st, 2019 to October 10th, 2019 in the county of Miami-Dade in the Southern District of Florida and elsewhere. The defendants violated conspiracy to bring aliens to the United States, attempts to bring, aiding and abetting the attempts to bring aliens to the United States. So we got the judge's signature, again, July 16th, 2020. Here's the affidavit. So the affidavit is from a guy named I. Amro A. Fuddle, being first duly sworn, hereby deposed and state as follows. So this is this guy, Myron Gaines, who is one of these digital alphas, fake online, unregistered, unlicensed, uninsured gurus that is out here selling these different products and ideas to men, when the best thing that a man can do in the United States in 2021 is to get a personal trainer, get a tailor, and go use that free health insurance and get you a therapist if needed. Because those are really the three things that are holding the 80% of Black men back, in my opinion. So get yourself a therapist, a trainer, and a tailor, and you can eliminate 80% of these unlicensed, uninsured, unregulated, and uncredentialed gurus. But going back to the document, so I am a special agent with Homeland Security Investigations and have been so employed since 2013. I am currently assigned to the Human Smuggling Group in the HSI Miami Field Office, where I am responsible for conducting investigations regarding violations of federal laws, particularly those laws found in Titles 8, 18, 19, and 21 of the United States Code, including violations of Title 8, United States Code, Section 1324, relating to human smuggling. Prior to this assignment, I was an HSI special agent in Laredo, Texas, where I conducted investigations as a lead case agent related to drug smuggling, trafficking, weapons violations, border violence, kidnappings, and human smuggling. Now, I'm gonna take that down because I'm not gonna bore you guys with a 12-page legal document. But the reason that it's important is because within that human smuggling is included is sex trafficking and things of that nature. So you have guys that are in this space that are federal agents, and we don't really know what their goal is with the Black audience, specifically the Black men in this space. And I just think it's important that we consider that when you have people talking that are coming from that sex trafficking background, but then at the same time you have this explosion of this promotion of sex trafficking. Because if you promote prostitution in a legal environment, then you're promoting sex trafficking. So to me, I think that's important. And I think there's a lot of guys that are in this space that are coming to this space and are going to be sent to this space that have different agendas than the agenda that I believed in when I came to space, that Black men should control their own narrative at a time when after 30, 40 years, everyone else controlled Black man's narrative and acted as unelected and unselected surrogates for Black men. So that's just my opinion, and many might disagree. But with that, I want to bring up Brother Allen to talk about, his discussion. Hey, welcome, ARC. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me, Brother King Sigma, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I really didn't want to chime in on this conversation, and I held back. But after listening to you and the lead attorney, there's just some things that are very strange going on in this space to me. And when you were talking about the illegality of prostitution, I started thinking how, because you never know who's behind what, right? Mm-hmm. From a content creator standpoint, YouTube, whatever's going on, and you don't know who's directing these conversations. So could you explain to us, like, why did you make that upload and why did you make those statements? Because it was between the 11-minute mark. You talked about it for a while in that upload. You spent half of the upload talking about that. What prompted you to do that?
Well, a few things. I noticed that there's quite a few guys in this space that seem to think, believe, and assume that money and status and material possessions are kind of a be-all, end-all solution for a lot of problems. And they're not. And particularly as it relates to interacting with women. And for example, I tell you, one of the funniest incidences I saw was on the young brother Bernard Riley's channel. He was interviewing a guy by the name of Theo. And Theo makes about $500,000 a year. He's a tech guy. Now, this guy, he was openly admitting that he had a number of women just exploit him and manipulate him for his financial resources and material possessions. He was basically openly admitting that he was guilty of being a simp. Yet later on in that same live stream, when a couple of guys came on the panel and were both asking questions of him and more so offering, just kind of general helpful hints, people were attacking the two guys who were offering them helpful hints by saying, hey man, what can you do to help Theo when he makes $500,000 a year? There's nothing, no knowledge, no wisdom you can share with this guy. He's already making $500,000. And they were saying that, again, with the assumption and belief that because Theo makes money, he don't have any problems with women. When the guy himself, the whole discussion was about him admitting that he got played multiple times by women because of his money. I say in my original Mo 1 book, in most cases, once you accumulate things like wealth and high degree of social status, you become a target for female financial predators. You become a target. You open the door to just get exploited and manipulated but women look to take advantage of naive guys with money.
Absolutely.
The one type of guy that most women look to take advantage of is a guy who's a combination of wealthy and naive. I'm sorry, I cut you off. You were about to say something.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you because because I know that you mentioned Greg Anthony, and I looked into that case, and I think that provides a perfect example of what you're speaking to. Greg Anthony was a I don't know if he made All-Star during his career, but he had a long enough career that he was a top pick to be a sports analyst with ESPN, and I think he won a championship at UNLV,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and he probably played for about 10 years. And here's a guy who has all the status, all the networks, everything.
Mm-hmm.
But he lost quite a bit because of the case that he got caught up in.
Yep, exactly. And as I think most guys know in your chat room, I want to say he used Backpage, which is since the FBI stepped in and shut that down. But yeah, man, it just amazes me. And you did a good job of describing everything in your intro. That guys in this space just freely endorse, promote, and condone an activity that's illegal. I mean, that literally just blows my mind. That's like being on a podcast or live stream and saying, hey, man, if you want to feel better today, why don't you, take my email address and then I'll come to your place and give you some cocaine. And then, you can buy that cocaine from me and then get high. And I actually did hear a black man. I ain't gonna say this creator's name, but just early this year, me and my wife heard a black male content creator openly admit on his live stream that he was snorting cocaine.
Dumb.
And I just looked at my wife and just shook my head like what the fuck is up with some of these brothers, man?
You know what it is, man? I've come to believe, with this pandemic and, with the lockdown and so many people being out of work and so much of this social life being restricted, I think guys have just they're just in a bubble, in this temporary bubble that's been created by this artificial situation. And they've just lost all sense of reality because they're spending more time in cyberspace than the real world right now, which is understandable because of the lockdown and the pandemic. But I think they don't read the laws or the contracts that they sign with Google, right? Mm-hmm. So you referred to, people talking about coke and doing all this stuff. And I went and looked up the actual act itself that is regulating this activity that we're talking about. When you're a content creator or when you're on a social platform, you're under federal laws, bro. And the actual law that I'm referring to is called the Stop Enabling Sex Traffickers Act, SESTA, and allows states and victims to fight online sex trafficking act, FOSTA. Now, this is what just the brief title of the FOSTA-SESTA Act that was signed in 2018 says. A bill to amend the Communications Act of 1934 to clarify that Section 230 of such act does not prohibit the enforcement against providers and users of interactive computer services of federal and state criminal and civil law relating to the sexual exploitation of children, of sex trafficking, and for other purposes of sex trafficking. That was passed by a 97-2 vote in the United States Senate, bro. So this is a unanimous thing and that's because you mentioned the back page, this is the act that took down that back page. You are a facilitator when you sign the contract to be a 1099 content creator with Alphabet Google. So you are under the regulation of the Communications Decency Act, and you can be prosecuted under this actual subdivision of the General CDA Act. And what I'm trying to say to brothers in this space, you got to have a little bit more of discretion, and you got to think bigger, because once you start getting a huge platform, you become a target. Alan mentions for the these strags out here, and that's what took down Myron Gaines. He was claiming that he was this big time alpha, but then to come out, he was just a digital alpha, but an actual beta. And I don't see what's wrong with just being yourself. All of us are not going to be able to be the top of the pyramid alpha. Everyone's not going to be that guy that walks into a bar and women just throw the panties at them. But I know for a fact that you'll be a happier version of yourself if you know that you're constantly developing yourself just physically, mentally, and financially. And you're not gonna get dissed by every woman if you just be yourself and have the confidence to get out there and go find what this world has put here for you. Why does everyone gotta become this fake alpha just to chase the bag and chase clout? What you got, Alan?
Well, now on a quick side note, and I know a lot of people tease me because it's some people say, well, ARC likes to take credit for inventing the internet and inventing the whole concept of dating and relationships. It is funny, but I was actually the one who introduced those terms. So when I hear everybody using them now, it's kind of funny. And a lot of my followers, longtime followers, have pointed it out as recently as like 2 or 3 weeks ago in my chat room. I mean, my comment section of one of my videos. This guy wrote, he said, Alan, nobody really gives you credit for talking about alpha versus beta. Because when I first came on the scene on the internet in summer, like right after Memorial Day of 1999, at that time, nobody was using the delineation of alpha and beta. The main delineation when I came on the scene was nice guys versus bad boys and gentlemen versus jerks. That was the main delineation. Was nice guys versus bad boys, or nice guys versus womanizers or players, and gentlemen versus jerks. But nobody was talking about alpha versus beta. I was the first one when I started posting on a lot of message boards and discussion forums that would introduce the terms alpha and beta. And at the time, I remember, like between, like, say, 1999 and 2002, 2003, a lot of guys would answer. They would say, what are you talking about with this alpha stuff, man? What are you talking about? And I would explain that I watched this special with these. It was a special I watched in the early 90s on, I think it was Discovery Channel or the Animal Channel or something. And they were talking about just mating among certain animals in certain animal kingdoms. And the narrator of this special started using the term alphas and beta. He basically made this point at one point. He said, in many animal kingdoms, beta males never get the opportunity to mate. Only the alpha males get the opportunity to mate. And I was sitting there like, damn, that's vicious. Then they went on to say that in certain animal kingdoms, they said, and if beta males do mate, I don't remember the exact word, but he said they only get like the leftovers.
Well, actually, you know what was funny, Alan, that you bring up the animal kingdom stuff? When you study the chimpanzee, what you find out is that it's actually the beta males and the sigma males of the group that actually use game, because the alpha male doesn't have to use game. What they do, the chimpanzee, they use cunning. They try to sneak in to get laid when the alpha chimpanzee's not around. They try to use different, obstacles that they overcome to get to her, to get some while the alpha's not around. And that's what I'm saying about this alpha thing. So when you heard me say what the note that I took when I was listening to your upload, when I said that this is just our own personal note, tricking is a potential crutch for an inability to be sexually charming and charismatic enough to invoke genuine lust and desire in your desired female target. And she is fucking somebody for free. Do you disagree? You agree, kind of, or what do you think about that statement?
You said whose note is this?
This is my note that I took
Whoa,
when I was listening to your podcast, because you were talking about, yeah.
I definitely believe most men use money as a replacement for whatever they lack otherwise. It could be whatever they lack in the terms of their physical appearance.
One second, Alan. Let me get this super chat.
Okay.
Salute to the brother Unreasonable Man and the 1999. I appreciate you for joining. You got it, Alan.
Yeah, a lot of guys use money, look at money and material possessions as a compensator for whatever they lack otherwise. It could be what they lack in terms of their physical appearance. It could be what they lack in terms of their personal charm and charisma. It could be for what they lack in terms of confidence and masculinity. And it could be for what they lack in terms of overall social skills and conversation skills. So a lot of guys, what they say, they recognize in their own mind, basically, okay, I don't have those things going for me. So what I'm going to make up for it is I'm going to offer women money, because I know all women desire money, like money, value money. So I figure if I offer money, that's the closest thing I can do to guarantee myself reciprocation. But the reality is, tricking, as I'm pointing out, and I think the same video you watched, if not the video right before that, tricking is not the guarantee that most men think it is. I've seen with my own eyes guys try to trick with women and get turned down. And when I was living in Los Angeles, I remember I had one weekend where I had two buddies that came from out of town, and they wanted to basically trick with some streetwalkers. And man, they was getting rejected left and right until we finally ran into the women's pimps. Well, I should say pimp. I said plural, singular. The women's pimp who was this, he was a smooth dude, man. He didn't even look like a pimp. Not saying that there's one look for a pimp, but he looked like a middle-class businessman. He was dressed in a nice suit. He was a light-skinned brother with wavy hair, had a tie on. I mean, he was dressed to the nine. And I ended up talking to him, and I was basically like, man, why is my friends getting rejected left and right? And he was like, oh, man, my girls, I don't allow them to sleep with brothers, man. And I was like, basically like, get out of here. I treated him first like he was joking. I was like, he's like, get the fuck out of here. He was like, no, I'm straight serious, man. He's like, he says, brothers, man, they cause too many problems, man. Sometimes they too physically aggressive. He says sometimes they try to renege on the money. And here was the most interesting one. He says, I don't remember his exact words, so I'm going to paraphrase for him, but he says sometimes, man, brothers, they just too good of a fuck, man. He said they be in there fucking some of my girls for like, 45 minutes to an hour. And I started laughing like you're laughing now. I said, are you serious? He said, yeah, man. He said, I can't. He said, as a businessman, I can't have that, man. I can't have all my girls getting fucked for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour or longer. No, I can't have that, man. So some of my girls, they was actually enjoying the shit with the brothers, man. He said, I had to cut that off. And I've told guys in some videos, see, this is the objective of most street, there's 3 levels of sex workers. There's street prostitutes, medium tier would be professional call girls, and high tier would be what's known as upscale erotic escorts. For street prostitutes, they're not really trying to have you fuck them. I can give you, if you didn't know that before today, you know that now. Most of them are not trying to actually have you fuck them. What they try to do real slick, and this pimp I was talking to confirm this, they'll try to just jack you off real quick. They'll be their ideal customer is like a middle-aged, nerdy, geeky white dude who's probably 40 pounds overweight, not used to being in the company of a woman who's a 7, 8, 9, or 10. And then the prostitute just sweet talks the guy. And while she's sweet talking, she just grabs his dick real quick and just jacks him off. Because see, street prostitutes are paid by the orgasm as opposed to call girls and escorts. Like call girls are paid by the half hour or the hour. Escorts are paid by the day or the weekend or the week. Prostitutes are paid by the orgasm. So as soon as they make you have an orgasm, whether it's through oral sex, intercourse, or a hand job, they're done. They're done. And so that's their idea from the pimp standpoint, from a strictly business standpoint. That's what they direct their girls to do, is try to jack the guys off and then make them come and then say, okay, that's it. And what he was saying is that when women have done that with certain brothers, they'll be like, oh, bitch, I want my dick in your pussy. Fuck this hand job shit. You better let me get that dick in. And then he got to step in.
Yeah, I feel you. Let me get this super chat. Big Poke Dog, salute for the 10. Appreciate you, bro. We got MOT. He says, the best place to hide the promotion of feminism is behind the dudes who think they have this thing figured out. So let me bring that one up, because that's a good point. And I got MOT in the background, so I'm going to bring him up in like 5 minutes, but I kind of just wanted to get this intro in with Alan real quick. But Alan, he talks about the fact that a lot of these guys, because you were talking about in yours that they still get played by women who are savvy manipulators. And I thought that was critical because I kept thinking back to that case with Derek Williams again. So I'm gonna bring the situation up with Derek Williams, the former top 5 basketball pick, who he got himself caught up in something in New York when he was playing for the Knicks. And let me bring that article up. You guys will like this one. Because I've always been a person that I believe that every man should be his own critical thinker and that we shouldn't look to guys like Allen Roger Curry as cult figures, but as guys that they present information, then you go and counter that information, get counter information, and then you come up with your own opinion to verify, confirm, or even create your own ideology or your own idea that you got. So I'm just a true believer in that. And I know a lot of people in this space, they're more looking for a cyber figure to follow. And I think that's very dangerous overall. So here's a story from the New York Post that relates to what Alan's talking about how these females can be very manipulated and cunning. And they're not just these lilting, lilies that the men would lead you to believe. All you got to do is follow Cardi B's career and women like her. These women got more game than the dudes out here in a lot of situations. So don't sleep on that. So here's a situation with Derek Williams. Women robbed Knicks player of $750,000 in jewelry after night of partying. This was in December 2015. So here's Derek Williams. He was a top 5 NBA pick. It says Knicks forward Derek Williams was robbed of $750,000 in jewelry at his Tribeca apartment early Saturday, and he's blaming 2 women he took home from a meatpacking district club earlier in the evening. The women pillaged a Louis Vuitton jewelry case holding a small fortune in basketballer bling, law enforcement sources said. I don't want to talk about it, Williams said after the Knicks game at Madison Square Garden on Saturday night. It's still up in the air. Williams, 24, had been celebrating Friday night's 107-97 victory over the Philadelphia 76ers with a group of friends at the Up and Down Club. Afterward, they headed back to Williams' Broadway apartment, along with 2 women who they had just met and who may have been using false names, the sources said. After more partying at Williams' bachelor pad, everyone went home, but not before the 2 girls found a Louis Vuitton case stuffed with $750,000 worth of jewelry in one of Williams' closets. So I'll leave it there. But that's an example that kind of supports what you're saying, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, here's what guys don't realize, but should simply realize. There's really only 3 types of guys that women who are predator types target to exploit and manipulate. Number 1, of course, is guys who are in possession of a high degree of wealth and expensive material possessions. That would be number 1. Number 2 would be guys are in a position to either offer them ideal employment, or if they're already employed, offer them some type of promotion. And third, on the most basic and minimal level, would be guys that just have a very flattering and entertaining personality. And they just take advantage, exploit you for your, what I call your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship. And so it basically, you will find if you don't have one of those 3 things to offer, most women will leave you the fuck alone. You won't run into any women that I call in my books manipulative time wasters. You'll just run into rejectors. If women don't think you have anything to offer them in the way of money and material gifts and possessions, you don't have anything to offer them of value in the way of employment or career promotions, and at bare minimum, you don't have anything to offer them in the way of flattering and entertaining and emotionally empathetic conversation. And I talk about all this in my books, The Possibility of Sex and No Free Attention. If you don't have any of those things, 99% of women, they're going to leave you the fuck alone. If they're manipulative, they're going to leave you the fuck alone because their attitude is, you ain't got shit I want. You ain't got nothing that I need to manipulate. See, that's one of the things I said when I was younger. If I had one weakness, like somebody asked in the chat room I saw today, somebody was talking about the weaknesses of men, things they might be lacking in. And somebody simply asked, Alan, what do you think one of the weaknesses you've had over the course of your life? Definitely in my 20s and 30s, I was broke most of the time. So that eliminated women who had materialistic tendencies because I was broke. So I had too much knowledge, wisdom to allow women to play me. But even if I had, didn't have that, no woman would have been attracted to try to play me because I didn't have anything in the way of money or material possessions for women to try to play me for. Out of those three things I already mentioned, the number one thing that women would try to play me sometimes for, mainly when I was in college, was simply the third thing, the minimal thing, which was flattering and entertaining conversation. A lot of guys, a lot of women would try to give me an impression that at some point in the future, they was going to let me, tap that ass, i.e. the possibility of sex, when really they just wanted me to be flattering and entertaining. And it wasn't until I start using my mode one approach where I start quickly identifying and weeding those type of women out. And that's actually why I start being mode one. See, again, I say this almost ad nauseum at this point, but a lot of guys have the misinterpretation that they think my original motivation for mode one was to try to increase the women I was getting laid with. I was already getting pussy even before I became mode one. So sexual frustration wasn't my problem. My problem was manipulative time wasters. And I start being mode one as a way of identifying them and weeding them out. And the basic way to do that is to be upfront and straightforward about the fact that you're trying to fuck. You'll be able to weed them out like literally in most cases, 10 minutes or less.
Oh, you're right about that because, I'm newly single and back in the market. And I've kind of, I'm going on a little trip in 2 weeks to the West Coast. And so I've been doing this Tinder thing, and I've never been a big fan of mode one for the average guy. And you and I have talked about that before. Mm-hmm. And I describe more of what I do as more mode two to mode one light. And I think that mode one is really for a regular dude. That's for a situation where you're like in a bar or you're in a place where you're not going to see this woman. And you and I have had a discussion. We just disagree. But to test your theory, a couple of the women that matched with me over the last week, I just kind of was using mode two, mode one light, and mode one. And one of the women that I really wanted to bang, man, I used mode one, and she unmatched because of that shit. But all the women that I used mode one light or mode two, they stayed. But I wanted to bang, right? I was
to interject real quick, I have a term for what I think you're describing as mode one light. That's what I call mode 1.5.
So you call it mode 1.5? Okay.
I have three variations of mode one. I have the most explicit version and risque version is mode one hardcore. Then I have what I call just standard conventional mode one. And then my most tame and conservative version where you use no profanity, no sexually explicit language is what I call mode 1.5.
Now I did that on purpose though. So remember, I was doing this on purpose because I just, all of the women look good that I matched with, but it was one that I just wanted to see what would happen if I was just 100% aggressive with one of the girls that I matched with. And for her, that was a little bit too much, 100 miles per hour coming at her. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in the mood at that moment and I just wanted to see. So for me in that situation, I felt that it was best for me to calibrate and stay in mode two and then push the throttle and go to mode 1.5. Because again, for me, I've only experienced mode one working for me, but I'm an average guy, average looking guy, above average fitness. I'm more of a person, I would say that my biggest strength is my listening skills and my thoughtfulness and my verbal ability. But I think that mode one is something that is really good for guys that are in that top 1 to 5%, because you're going to have a higher percentage of success using that mode. But with that, I just want to bring up MOT, and then you can respond to him. But I wanted to go back to that SESTA Act, to something that related to what we were talking about for those that were wondering. So in the SESTA Act, in one of its clauses, it says that it made it illegal to advertise sex trafficking, knowingly benefit financially from participation in a venture that advertises sex trafficking, and to engage in activities related to sex trafficking besides advertising, knowingly or in reckless disregard of the fact that sex trafficking is involved. So I just hope that people are listening, let that sear into your mind, because you know how the government works when they make these vague statements like that. And their goal is to catch anyone promoting prostitution and sex trafficking online using social media. You got the mic, MOT. You got it, MOT.
Oh, a second. On another phone, say I'm muted. Am I unmuted? It said I'm unmuted now. Can you
You're
hear
kind
me?
of low. Your volume's kind of low, MOT.
Hold on a second. I'm on a new computer. How's it going, Miss Curry?
What's up, brother MOT?
All right. So what we're not going to do, we're not going to do what we usually do. We're going to have a intellectual discussion about the actual benefits and the drawbacks from it, because I think that your mode one approach in this specific situation with this particular individual is the absolute reason why it has to be situational and not overall. Can we agree on that?
When you say this, who are you referring to?
The fresh and fit guy.
Okay, well, if you don't mind, MOT, before you get started, that's what I was going to say right before King Sigma turned the mic over to you. Because I've had at least 3 or 4 guys in the last, 36, 48 hours ask me questions like, hey, Alan, what did you think about Myron Gaines' failed attempt to be Mo 1 with this woman named Anna Quinn? And, again, 2 or 3 other guys asked me similar question. And my response to them was like, he wasn't Mo 1. See, here's where a lot of guys make the mistake. And I've talked about this on a number of my videos. A lot of guys think that anybody who's direct is automatically Mo 1. That's like, I use the analogy, that's like assuming that every double cheeseburger is a Big Mac. It's not. A Big Mac is McDonald's particular brand of a double cheeseburger. But I give you the easy example with my 4 modes. When you're mode 4 involves being direct with women. But mode 4, as I explained in my book, is totally different than mode 1, even though the similarity is that they both involve being direct.
Oh, yeah, so, can I be audibly heard now?
You said what?
Can I be audibly heard now?
Wait, I couldn't hear him.
Can I be heard? Can people hear what I'm saying?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me get this real quick. So DY Lifestyle, appreciate the 5. Mode 1 only works in a club bar settings. Otherwise, it's trash. Plus, once you hit a certain age, you want a mental connection with a female. So I'll let MOT respond to you, Alan, and then you can respond to this commenter.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm saying about the mode 1 approach is it has to be situational and circumstantial. Like, what you don't stress is that mode 1 cannot be done over the internet without meeting the person and having, because see, when you talk about mode 1.
No, I have to interject there.
No, you don't. I'm not even done yet.
Hey, Alan, let him.
I encourage men to be mode 1.
MOT, Alan, brothers, hold on.
I don't encourage men to be mode 1 through electronic communication.
Alan, please let MOT respond. You got it, bro.
Okay,
let MOT get his full thought out. Yeah.
Okay. I understand mode 1. I understand how it works. What people do is they write off the losses and they take on only the gains from mode 1. I know damn well you don't promote sending text messages through mode 1, having online communication through mode 1. Mode 1 is something that you have to do in person, up front, with a person that is in person with you, right? So
I would also add on phone. But yeah, either face-to-face or over the phone. But text, email, direct message, I don't recommend mode 1 through electronic communication at all.
Why is that?
Because you can't, from my end as the man, I can't read anything. One thing my clients know, I'm big on reading women. See, like the most ideal situation is face-to-face. When I'm talking to a woman face-to-face, I can read her body language. And see, and the reason why that's important, because you can't take a lot of things that women say on face value. For example, a woman could be seemingly giving you a friendly and flirtatious reaction by her words, but her body language will be saying, I ain't interested in this motherfucker. And on the flip side, a woman's words could be saying, nah, I don't do casual sex. I'm not that kind of girl. but her body language is saying, oh yeah, I very much want to give you some pussy. So when I'm in the company of a woman physically, not only am I just engaging in a conversation with her, but I am thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly, reading every minuscule aspect of her body language. And then
how do you do that over the phone? How do you do that over the phone, sir?
I was going to say, to a lesser extent over the phone, you can accomplish the same thing. But one thing I do at minimum over the phone is I can read women's what I call vocal energy. I can read women's vocal. Matter of fact, if King Sigma and you don't mind,
we can read vocal energy over text messages and everything else.
No, you can't. No, I disagree. Text messages you can't read anything.
Let me explain the difference, because you are trying to make it look like on the phone and in person is somehow viable, but not over text and email is also non-viable. So you're trying to put an actual label on things that are actually being done with people that are in person and over the phone on a level that's higher than people that actually communicate nowadays, or people who communicate through text and emails and everything else without an actual phone conversation. When you give a woman your phone number nowadays, you don't have the ability to do mode 1 or any of this other stuff, even though people lie like they do. That's not what's happening here. There is a difference between what you're saying.
Well, I just say for me and how I work with my clients, because I have a number of mainly the younger guys.
Those are special circumstances.
They'll say, Alan, every woman I run into, she just wants to communicate through text. And my simple response is, I say, leave that bitch alone, because she's just looking for attention. She ain't really looking at any woman that doesn't want to talk to you.
Mode 1 does give her attention, though.
You said what?
Mode 1 does give her attention, the attention that she wants up front. I will prove it to you. Are you ready?
Okay, go ahead.
How on earth can you offer an individual that you do not know in a public setting sexual attention right away, and she gets the option of thumbs up and thumbs down, and that not be giving her exactly what she wants? Is a thumbs up and a thumbs down from a man right away. It gives the woman exactly what she wants. She wants the attention up front. She wants to know your actual intentions up front. Mode 1 is an actual idea of feeding women exactly what they want.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not. If you believe that, you don't understand women. No, it's not.
Wrong, sir.
Women always want your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship. Always. And see, that's where Mode 1 comes in. Mode 1 is basically saying to women, if you ain't going to give me access to your sexual attention and companionship, I'm not going to give you access to my non-sexual attention and companionship. That's what you're basically saying to woman in Mode 1. Women, I'll talk about this in a positive sense. Women care way more. At minimum, they care just as much. In most cases, they care way more about gaining access to your non-sexual attention and companionship than they do your sexual attention. Most women feel like I can get a man's sexual companionship any fucking time I want to. That's how most women feel. Their challenge is, I want to get your non-sexual time, attention, and companionship, and or your money. Either your non-sexual time, attention, companionship, and or your money. That's what women's angle is. And Mode 1 says, I'm not going to spend no money on you. I'm not going to spend time hanging out with you at the bowling alley before I fuck you. Either we fucking or we not. Either we fucking
give
or
her
we not.
What she wants up front.
Now, so Alan, in the situation I described to you that happened to me the other day, so one of the commenters, he says that he feels that Mode 1 worked in my situation because by coming at the woman boldly in the spirit of what you're saying right now, where I told her, hey, what are you doing? If you're available right now, I want to smash. Now, I did this. I was willing to sacrifice one of the women I matched with just to see. Now, he's saying that because she unmatched and was not willing, to come through at that moment, that Mode 1 worked. Do you agree or disagree with that, Alan and MOT? Did it work or did it fail?
Well, see, I always have a problem when people, when they say work. Because see, here's what I always say. Mode 1 always works.
What?
Even when you get rejected, Mode 1 works.
Then why didn't it work in Fresher Fitt's case? Or
but then he went Mode 1. But it actually did, if you want to say for argument's sake. But I was about to explain before you took over the mic. What I don't even consider what Myron Gaines did with Anna Quinn as Mo 1. He was direct, but he wasn't Mo 1 simply for starting simply the fact that it was through electronic communication, man. That ain't Mo 1.
Okay. All right.
But let's say for argument's sake, people want to categorize him Mo 1. Here's where he fucked up. Mo 1, I always say it helps you identify one of these 5 women. It helps you identify a reciprocator.
Yeah. Go ahead and please reiterate what it identifies so that way we can be able to see
you
exactly
what talking, you're going to keep interrupting me, MOT.
Sir, it didn't work. That's what it is. When you talk about it works all the time, sir, Mo 1 does nothing.
Mo 1 always works.
Plain.
So hold on one second, gentlemen. Hold on one second. So ARC. So you're saying that in a situation where, because you know about half of people under the age of 35 now, their first icebreaker with a woman is through a digital media, right? So you're saying that mode 1, you can't use mode 1 on the digital. You have to wait until, so like, let's say her and I, we're going to meet up for the first encounter in person. You're saying that mode 1 doesn't include the prologue and the first conversations online. It doesn't take effect until you actually line that woman up in person and meet in person. That's the only point where you can start mode 1. You're saying that it doesn't.
Either personal over the phone. The only time I use, because people act like because of my age, that I haven't been active in the 21st century. I've been using, my wife is 30 years old. So obviously I know how to pull young women. People say, oh, Alan, you old, so you don't know about electronic communication and technology and stuff. Yo, what do you think I've used in the 21st century with every woman I dealt with? So that's number 1. I've used I only use electronic communication to set up a face-to-face meeting or to set up a day and time, ideal date and time to talk over the phone. That's the only thing I use electronic communication for, is to set up a face-to-face meeting or to set up identify an ideal date and time to talk on the phone. But I don't do lengthy conversations through electronic communication.
Okay, Alan. So in the situation I'm referring to, like, so let's say you're on Tinder, okay, Cupid. Now you've had a couple exchanges with this female, because me personally, I don't believe in doing more than 5 different threads with a woman that I'm interested in. I want to get her as quickly off the app to the phone to me as possible. So you're saying you wouldn't recommend that a man use mode 1 at all during the digital engagement. He should be in mode 2 then.
Yeah,
digital. Okay.
You want to say that? Yep.
Okay. Got you. You got an MOT.
What I'm saying is that it doesn't always work because there's no videotape evidence or the actual track record that we actually see between these 2 individuals. It isn't done for every mode 1 attempt to solution, to proving. It doesn't work. It's nothing but assertions. What that dude did was misuse his power in that situation. That's not going to look well in every other situation outside that. And I need to do a separate live stream on how this stuff goes wrong. So that way I can be able to show you the law enforcement perspective of how mode 1 is actually viewed in a court.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I know you usually only highlight super chats. But can you highlight this comment by H Rail in the chat room?
Okay, so we got
summed up my thoughts.
So he says Myron was indirectly tricking directly. So let me find the other one. So you said H Rail?
Yeah, H Rail. He misspelled my name, but other than that, everything he said was on point.
Okay, I see it. All right, so Alan, these guys are idiots and they haven't read your book. Mode 1 does not guarantee sex. It guarantees that your time and money will not be wasted.
That's the number 1 objective. That is not the number 1 objective of mode 1. It is not. I've said that like 200 million times over the last 20 years. Women is not the number 1. The number 1 objective of mode 1 is for these 2 things. It's for the women who are interested in you, so you don't waste more time or money than you absolutely positively have to. And for the women who are not interested, so you can get rejected as quickly as possible.
But hold on, I want to do that
quickly as possible.
So fuck you at H-Rail, calling someone fuck you. But you got it back, Alan.
What? Like, whoa. We had a comment and It didn't happen. So what's going on? So
Number one is for you not to waste your motherfucking time. All these guys out here are wasting fucking time and money on bitches who are never going
We're
to
turning up the level. Like, dude, facts don't need to be yelled, bro. Like, could you just make your point without raising your voice?
I'm tired of these repeated discussions, man.
Bro, like, okay, all right. Well, I could give my I could give my rebuttal at a normal tone because it's true, and tonality doesn't mean anything for things that are true. Here's the thing: you prove that Mo one is not wasting time by wasting your time up front, inviting her to the best ideal sexual experience that she actually could do. You're actually giving her everything that she wants up front and then expecting her to say a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That isn't mode, dude. If you're talking about it will waste less time for sex, you know it will waste less time for sex? Actually tricking and getting exactly what you want from a one-to-one.
What do you got to do to do tricking? What do you got to do?
You got to pay for it.
That's
dude,
similar
listen,
to Mo one. What do you got to do?
I can show you your bank statements or anybody else's bank statements who do mode one, and I can show you exactly how much you spend on sex. When it comes to your clothes, the actual car you drive, the actual place that you live in town, everything else. You guys actually try to make it look like you're just walking in with genetic pre-qualifications and you're getting what you want to. But I can look at your bank statements and I can tell you exactly how much money you spend on sex. Any man, I can tell them.
No, you can't.
Any man outside of gym membership,
let me ask you this, bro. Let me ask you.
Real situation.
You got to silence him, Kingston. I want to ask you a question.
Wow.
Okay, let me get this MOT.
You're interrupting me, but okay.
MOT,
King Sigma, I asked you directly when you invited me to this. Mm-hmm. See, what's going on right now is what I did not want to do.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to do back and forth with people question you on all your nonsense.
MOT, let him finish.
My nonsense, bitch, shut the fuck up, you bitch ass nigga. My nonsense with your stupid nonsense. You encouraging people to trick and involving solicitation for prostitution. You bitch ass nigga.
I am here to break women's power in society, sir. You're here to give them more power than anything else in the world. I'm telling you to mow one.
Because you a bitch.
Oh, God. Are we going to do this again, again, sir? Oh, my God. I want to protect this bubble where I can shout my nonsense.
Bullshit.
So I want to get this panel back. You know, we were doing good. So, you know, brothers got a little bit heated, but hey, fellas, come on. We got good information to be shared. So, MOT, let ARC ask his question. I'll answer, and then I'll give the mic back. You got it?
I'm just lay it out, man.
Go ahead.
I didn't come on here to defend my one approach. God damn it, I've been in business for over 20 years. Ain't nobody faded me yet. If somebody could prove otherwise, I'll send them $1,000 today.
Oh, nigga, you got $1,000 really?
I've been in business for fucking 20 plus years. Ain't nobody faded me yet. So shut the fuck up with all these challenges about my one approach.
I will answer his $1,000 bet.
You write your own book and promote
MOT, let him ask me the question, then I'm going to give you the mic, bro. Now, ARC, what was your question directly for me before you interrupted?
No, I just said to you, man, I predicted this shit. What's going to happen? Man, I didn't come
need
here
a simple solution where you don't
get challenged. MOT, please,
let the man finish the question. I'm tired of that conversation, man. I'm tired of that fucking conversation.
By providing proof,
talk about people promoting prostitution and that type of shit in the Manosphere. That's what I came up here to talk about. I ain't come up here to talk about, is Mo one effective? Is it not effective? I don't think Mo one's effective. Nigga, I've had like 2,000 of them conversations over the last 5 years, and I'm tired of it. That's why I sound so loud and angry. Because I'm tired of that goddamn conversation.
Asking you for proof makes you mad.
Conversation. My books are the best-selling books out there in the Manosphere. And I dare anybody to say otherwise.
Let me pose this question to you then, MOT. So do you agree with Alan when he says that these guys are foolish for possibly violating the SESTA and Mann Act by promoting prostitution in these black male spaces or not? Do you agree or disagree?
No. It's no more of a like what people don't understand is Alan Roger Curry is an agent of feminism. What he does is he gives women free attention by having you offer it on the platter up front than a woman actually figuring out what your intentions are behind the scenes. Like this is what Alan Roger Curry don't understand about his mode one approach. This is why it's not on camera. If it was on camera, you would be able to see this guy get rejected and turned down every single time. If it was an actual discipline like Taekwondo or Wing Chun or any other karate discipline, it would be able to be experienced every year. All it does, it gets men who are raised by women who are actually enticed by women's opinion to come and make unsubstantiated claims by a guy who is well past his prime, in the prime to which he was doing this mode one approach. We would be able to see a mode one approach post Me Too.
Are you a heterosexual?
Post Me Too. I want to see it. I want to see it on
tape. Are you a heterosexual?
You are yeah, I'm a well, what is going on?
Are you a heterosexual?
All of a sudden I'm gay now?
Yes, you are. You sounded like a homosexual.
I am gay now because you're asking for proof? I'm gay because I asked for
proof. We have video proof that you're heterosexual.
Oh
I ain't never
my
seen
God.
your video interacting with no women.
I'm asking for proof.
Seen your video interacting with no women.
Your concept has been out here for 20 years. You should be able to come out here and prove your point. You should be able to come out on your camera. Dude, listen. I would invite you to Highlands Ranch. I would invite you to Green Valley Ranch. I would invite you to Castle Rock, Colorado. I would invite you to actual.
That you're a homosexual.
Wow, I'm a homosexual because I asked for proof of concept of mode one. Is that what that is, sir? Dude, listen, that works on dudes in the 90s. This is the 21st century,
you
sir.
Sound like a homosexual.
Nobody actually believes in that shit.
You sound like a homosexual and fuck you.
Oh my God, I'm gay because I asked for your old ass to prove your mode one approach. You give women exactly what they want to. What?
You sound like a gay
motherfucker, man. Get out of here, bro.
Like a gay motherfucker.
Old dude.
Ain't nothing
to entice these bitch ass niggas to come out here and prove your concept. You haven't even proved your concept yet.
You sound like
you haven't proved your concept.
Do you even like pussy?
You haven't proved your concept.
Yes or no? Do you like pussy? That's a straightforward question. Do you like pussy?
I do, but I don't want it from uncultured women. No, sir.
How do you go about getting pussy?
No, sir.
How do you go about getting pussy?
I like it from a one specific woman that I could actually have some level of discipline over, so that way she don't fuck me over because of my level of pussy, sir.
Fellas, let me get this super chat. Let me get this super chat real quick, bro. Doug, appreciate the 10. Using mode one doesn't mean guaranteed sex. It's putting your intentions on the table. Sex, long-term relationship, or casual. Either the woman accepts or not accepts the term. It's not that complicated. So let me get the other one. Let me get this other brother real quick.
This is why you give the woman what she wants on a platter up front in front of her. It's not
okay. Hold on, MOT. Useless, familiar. 5. ARC is the Hemingway of our generation. You got it.
What I'm saying is ARC is offering feminists exactly what they want on a platter. Your intentions. You know what women don't offer on a platter? Their intentions. So what ARC is doing is allowing you to bring all of your intentions up front while she gets to hide behind lap bands, makeup, body shapers, and all this other shit. But you have to play the game up front because you're just an honest man who gonna do everything that you want because you got genetically qualified and you're gonna get exactly what you want from women. It's crazy. It's giving the women exactly what they want. This dude is a tool for feminism. That's what one is. A tool for feminism.
And you're a tool for homosexuality.
That's what it is, sir. That's what it is.
You're a tool for homosexuality.
So ARC.
I'm not that, sir. I don't know why you keep bringing up that I'm a tool for I'm not that. I don't know why you keep doing
Enough for the personal attacks, bro. I want to ask ARC something. So in that situation with the cat from Fresh and Fit, you said that in no way was he mode one. And with all these women coming out now, because based on the evidence I've seen from this guy, Vanny Media, I guess there's like several women coming out and they're claiming they're going to get lawyers involved. And one of the things I talked about on Game Changers panel the other day, because we were debating on, should you shit where you eat? And I've always been a believer because of the situation that happened to me where I could have got myself in trouble with a female I was working with, that it's better not to do it in this day and age. And it's better just to know, hey, there's certain spaces for your leisure activities, but work is very risky for a black man because especially with corporate America, academia, and government jobs, we're the last ones hired, first one fired in this climate. We're not an in-demand group even within this woke culture of, oh, we want diversity. The black male is last in that diversity list if he gets chosen. So my thought is that you shouldn't try to fuck guests on your panel, because why risk losing the money, losing the subscribers, when you can take the money that you get off these IG thoughts and go find you an even better version of her somewhere else outside of your business? Because again, here's another risk that was taken by that guy. When you're a 1099 worker and you get a sexual harassment civil suit against you, your channel is going to get deleted by YouTube if it gets up to them. Why? Because you make them liable. They don't chase the small bag. When they go off to hire a lawyer, and remember, we have the highest rate of unemployed lawyers ever, the highest rate of people to graduate from law school but not actually be practicing law. What's to say that if this gets to like 4, 5, 7 women, that they won't get one of these unemployed lawyers and say, hey, this happened to me. And now they got all this video virtual evidence, all this DM evidence, and they go to Google and they say, here's your 1099 employer. We want the bag. So I'm just wondering what you think. Do you think that's a potential consequence of his actions? And should he have just said, hey, I'm not going to shit where I eat, and left it at that, and then say, hey, I'll go out to Miami Beach the next day and go knock all the dimes on the beach using Mode 1 strategy?
Well, you could criticize the fact that he tried to mix in a desire to have sex with this woman, Anna Quinn, and I assume other women with a desire to collaborate on their business. Is that something I would encourage, endorse, or condone? No. But in his partial defense, there's businessmen realistically who do that all the time. I know well enough, man. There's businessmen in this country and all around the world who do that type of shit all the time. So to me, that wasn't his major problem. Here's where his major problem went in. Is he told her, which I'll give him credit for, under the category of being direct, according at least to the print screen DMs I saw. Now, I'm assuming they're legit. They haven't been manipulated or Photoshop modified or anything. I'm assuming that what I saw on the print screens by Anna Quinn was legit. Here is where Myron went wrong. He said, I'm going to let you know up front that I don't want to have a series of interactions with you that are of a purely platonic nature. And again, I'll give him some kudos for that. He laid out up front what type of interactions he wanted to have.
Was it
let me finish. Why are you talking while I'm talking? What is this?
You need to be able to answer the question. Was Fitz's actual promotion of Mode 1 the way he employed it some way that you would actually employ it yourself? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
I thought I already explained that.
Now, ARC, why would you
do it through a direct message? I would never be Mode 1 with a woman through a direct message, ever.
But you don't mind fucking women that you that are your employees?
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily say that.
No,
other
men
do that all the time.
No. I didn't say you said. I'm asking you. I'm asking you what your thought is as far as a rule. Like I'm saying, as a rule, what do you think of that? Do you? Because I just believe that in this climate that we're in, bro, and seeing how it's so easy to take a brother down, that it's better just to separate the two, man. That's my belief.
Well, if you want me full disclosure, yes, I have had sex with a woman that I had also a business relationship with.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but was it in this current climate though, or was it prior to this Me Too stuff?
It was prior to the whole Me Too stuff.
So what would you recommend for younger men? You know, we're talking, the men that are in their prime.
Too risky because of what you just said, the Me Too movement. Too risky. My frat brother, who I know personally, Tavis Smiley, he got caught up in that. And we all know what happened with him. He tried to mix business and pleasure with his company, and look what it did to his career. So no, in the Me Too environment, I would not recommend trying to sleep with. I've done like 3 videos on my channel about that. Don't get laid where you get paid. Don't try to have sex with people who are business colleagues, co-workers, subordinates. Don't do that. It's just not yeah, there's a 95 to 99% chance you're gonna regret it in the long run. But yeah, before the whole Me Too movement took off, there was at least a handful of times I've had sex with somebody I also had a business relationship with. But what I was gonna say, where Myron fucked up more than any other time, was not by telling her up front that I don't want any series of interactions with you that are of a purely platonic nature. I commend her for that part. But what happened was, once she rejected him, and I don't think it was a harsh rejection, she politely rejected him, and then he flipped on her. He started criticizing her. He started insulting her. Later on, I heard he encouraged his followers and supporters to go to her Instagram page and harass her. See, all of that shit, that's all fucked up.
So now that's mode 4 then.
That's mode 4 like a motherfucker. He went from mode, I don't consider it being mode 1, but let's say for argument's sake, he was mode 1. He went from mode 1 to mode 4. Once he got rejected, he went to mode 4, which is a no-no in my book. You don't ever do that. Ever. You don't ever go from, I've never gone from mode 1 to mode 4 simply because a woman rejected me. Never.
Yeah, see, and that's the kind of thing that gives, men in the West a black eye, because that plays into that narrative that a lot of these anti-male type advocates, where they say that the problem is men because they don't know how to take rejection with confidence and frame. They take the rejection, then they get to threaten a woman. Because you remember that whole thing in New York when the chick walked through the streets of New York and she was filming the dude's cat calling her. And what I see is that this kind of thing plays into that narrative. And what I'm saying is that just like with like government workers, people that work for the government, like if they're convicted of a crime, like the penalties are enhanced because they have more responsibility. Like a cop doing the same crime, he falls on a stricter code because they're given such authority. And I believe that once you put yourself out there like that, you're an unlicensed, unregulated, uncredentialed online guru, the standard for you as you grow your audience and get bigger becomes higher and higher, the standard. And so when you do what this guy did, you give the whole community a black eye, and they're already under target to the point that I read your press release and you separated yourself from the Black Manosphere space and the Manosphere spaces by a press release because you felt it was getting so toxic. So there's already that thing going on. So that's what I'm saying is that guys got to understand that when you get that big, you have a lot of responsibility to not just the people that follow you, but to the other brothers that are in the spaces, maybe not doing the same thing that you are. Some of us are here to speak on anti-misandry. Other guys are on this, dating guru thing. And I know you and I talked about this before, where that's one of the issues that I have with these unlicensed, unregulated gurus. And you said you agree that there should be some kind of association, just like there is for doctors, just like there is for lawyers, and they have to take out malpractice insurance and things like that. But this is one of those fields where all you need is one person to believe you're some kind of dating guru with no receipts, no proof of concept, and you can just take to these airwaves and build up massive followings if you connect with other people who are in a similar position as you. It's whack. And this is I think we're gonna have more situations like this coming forward.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And I did. I sent that I issued a press release. Because now the one thing I've clarified before I clarify again, a lot of people at that time I released that press release where it said dating coach Alan Rich Curry disassociates himself from the Manosphere. They thought that was due to one or more of my contentious beefs with, say, another Manosphere content creator. It had nothing to do with any beef I had with anybody. It was around the time the Joker was coming out with Joaquin Phoenix. And I don't know if anybody paid attention, but when around the time when that movie was about to come out, everybody during his press conferences were asking him questions about the Manosphere, incels, and Joaquin Phoenix was basically like, "Why do you keep asking me this shit? I don't even know what you're talking about." And at one point, one of his press junkets, he got up and left. out of frustration because people kept asking him about incels and red pill versus black pill and the manosphere in general. And he was basically like, this ain't got nothing to do with my movie. Why are you asking? But a lot of people in mainstream movies saw his character, his variation of the Joker more so than, say, Heath Ledger's version of the Joker. A lot of people saw Joaquin Phoenix version of Joker as being representative of a romantically and sexually I pronounce the name. That brother Pete at the chair says Joaquin. I've had people before say I mispronounced it. So yeah, okay. Thank you, brother Pete. At Joaquin Phoenix, he a lot of people saw his version of the Joker as being representative of a romantically and sexually frustrated incel type. But that he said that didn't, when he was, getting into character, preparing himself to play that character, he said he didn't do any research related to the manosphere or incels so anyway, now going back to my press release, when I noticed that a lot of articles that were coming out mainly related to that movie is that mainstream media, that's how they view the manosphere. They view the manosphere as being represented mainly two types of guys: romantically and sexually frustrated incels and bitter, resentful misogynists. That's the only two type of guys that the most factions of mainstream media view as being a part of the manosphere. And I didn't want my name and my brand being associated with that. Now, I know people who are active in the manosphere, whether it be the worldwide manosphere or the black manosphere, know that there's guys who don't fall into those two categories that exist in the manosphere. But again, mainstream media, that's how they were viewing it. And I was like, I don't want my brand being associated with either incels or bitter, hateful misogynists. I don't want that. So that's why I released that press release. But yeah, man, I mean, as I got on my community page right now, I got an opinion poll about what I call hypocritical enablers. One of the things that bothers me, man, in this space is you got so many guys that are hypocritical enablers, man. I give a couple examples. If you're a guy that's always passing judgment on promiscuous women and saying they no good sluts who will never get married, but you're regularly pursuing those same women for casual sex, you're a hypocritical enabler. You're enabling the very behavior that you're criticizing and passing judgment on.
Yeah, I've spoken on that as well, because I know that you have a background in economics, and I'm always trying to get brothers to look at things from the economic standpoint, that people respond to incentives. And what you're pointing to is the fact that you can talk all you want, but if you condone and support the bad behavior, why would the human nature doesn't change based on talk? Human nature only responds to rewards and punishments. So if you're going to continue to reward the bad behavior, it's going to continue.
Yep, exactly.
But I know I kind of hit you on short notice, but I got like 30 minutes, and there's some brothers in the chat that would like to ask you some questions. If you got like 30 minutes to spare, I'd like to give them a chance to come up and ask you a few questions.
As long as it's not a repeat of what happened with MOT.
No, MOT guy, he got his frustration with you out, so we're good from this point on.
Okay. I
guess, I mean, I'm surprised that you guys went at it to the degree that you did, but, at the end of the day, I guess, people have, emotional differences sometimes. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I put the link in the chat for those that had questions for ARC in regards. We're going to keep this kind of narrow for this last segment. If you have questions for him about his lens through which he sees these events that have happened this week, or questions about what he talked about with the dangers of promoting prostitution in these spaces compared to actually developing yourself and becoming a better version of you. And like I said, I admit I'm more of a mode 2, mode 1.5 type of person. That works for me. But the fact that he promotes being an effective communicator, bro, that's what I respect about what Alan does with the mode 1 theory, because that is so much of the basis of human relations is based on social relationships, the ability to network with people, and communicate better. Because a lot of guys, they talk themselves out of a lot of pussy because they're not good communicators. They don't know when to listen. They don't know when to speak. In fact, I found in my experience that the less I talk, the more pussy I get. Because it's about being a very effective communicator, understanding how to read body language and things like that.
Well, it's funny you say that. You know, if anybody got my really original Mo 1, the 1999 version, well, really all my versions, updated versions, emphasize this point. But see, that was the whole one of my biggest, if not the biggest principle when I first came out with Mo 1. You said the comment, I feel like a lot of times the less I talk, the more effective it is. That was my first thing I say in my original Mo 1 book is I say, I hate small talk. I hate trivial, inconsequential small talk. Because one of the things I noticed when I was still in college at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, was I noticed the number of times I ended up in bed with women is when I kept my trivial small talk to a bare minimum.
Yeah.
Whereas conversations where I was just doing a whole bunch of lengthy, rambling, trivial, and entertaining small talk, that's when I usually got friend zoned.
Man, I swear to God, I had to learn that the hard way, bro. Like I learned it the hard way back in undergrad, because I'll never forget this situation where me and a couple of my buddies, we went out to this frat party and we brought back some babes to the crib and they were ready and willing. And at the time, you know, I was really into like history and things like that, and I thought that would impress these women at the time because I was trying to keep the conversation going, and it ended up it was a bad move. Because it changed the whole vibe. Because you thought, oh, okay, well, you know, we all college people, we talking about like, you know, some deep shit. And so that lesson I was about 20 years old or something like that. That was all it took was one time to be in the field and see that these women talk all that stuff about, oh, we want an intelligent man and, you know, we want this and that. Not when she's horny. She may like intelligent conversation in certain scenarios, but for the most part, I'd say 80% of the time when these women are dealing with a man, it's, you know what I'm saying, they're motivated by sex. They just don't want to admit it. So me personally, I just never been a big fan of doing too much talking when it comes to women because 80% of it is nonverbal anyways. And that other 20% is just to help you segue her to whatever lane you're trying to put her in, whether it be emotional, sexual, or financial. That's, to me, in the early stages of an engagement with a woman, that's all you're trying to do is get her in one of those lanes. And then the longer conversations are for longer term, engagements with her. That's my opinion.
Yep.
So Silent Lamont and Xanatos, I think you guys have something to say to Alan. I put the link in the chat. So if you guys want to come up, come on up. And anyone else that, you know, had a lot to say in the chat, because I don't want to hold the brother Alan too long, because this wasn't a planned stream or anything like that. It's just that when I was listening to you, I just feel that your conversation was one of the most honest ones. You know, we get too caught up in the clout in this 2021 year, man. And no one wants to just say, you know, tell the truth about things because it can hurt the bag. And as we saw in this guy's situation, ultimately, you got to have some code of ethics too, even when you're chasing the bag. Even if it's not forced upon you by a third party, you got to have a code of your own that keeps you out of certain situations because, you know, it's tough to see a person with so much popularity and then see them fumble it this way that could have been avoided. You know what I mean?
Yep. I want to say shout out to one of my supporters, the Paul 9559, man. I see you in the chat room. That's one of my
shout out to James Hudson too. He says Texas just passed a law that says paying for sex is now a felony.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
There's all this contradiction in these recent laws. Like, so Texas passed that law, but at the same time, New York and California, they're now giving shields to the prostitutes, even though they're still arresting the trick.
Wow.
But I see you got some people on here that want to talk to you, Ashley. I'm going to let them, have a discussion. We got Silent Lamont, and then we got Xanatos Clutch. You guys got it, man.
Hey, you good, man. I ain't come up here to fight or nothing. I just came up, it's been a minute, ARC. You know me. I'm going to keep it 100. I just want you to know I ain't a nigga just going to talk shit in the chat. I say, I say everything I need to say. So if you got any questions or anything. So.
Well, I missed whatever you said in the chat, but yeah.
Hey, I said a whole bunch of shit, man. You know me, man. I ain't shit, bro. I keep it 100, man.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna come up here. I was just like, chilling on the Sunday burning a little bit, just talking shit in the chat. but nigga gonna call me out like, man, I ain't gonna not come up this motherfucker and be like, oh, I'm just gonna throw stones in the chat. Like,
well, I don't know what you said in the chat, so I mean, I assume you tried to roast me or something, but I know your personality by now, so.
So, Simon, what do you think about? Because it sounds like you had some disagreements. So I know you got a unique opinion on things, man. Go ahead and let it out.
Look, I mean, I thought the whole purpose was to get the woman at the end of the night. I mean, my whole thing is about, the close ratio. Now, when I first heard about it, I thought we were talking about the context of the things that are working, and that, hey, if we're talking about the dating coach aspect, I want to know about if I'm paying for a dating coach, I want to know how to get laid, not feeling better about going home jerking it. I mean, listen, I came up with a dude in the army. I was saying this shit in the chat. This fucking white boy in the army, crazy dude. So his thing was, he was like, all right, what I do is, because he like, you brothers want to, spin all this game and, trying to be smooth and shit. I just walk up to bitches in the club, be like, want to fuck? And I just ask 100 women if they want to fuck. Listen, only one got to say yes. I equate that to mode one. Now, I wouldn't call it a game or anything. I mean, we talked about this dude say, hey, you a wild white boy, man. But like, at the end of the day, if it doesn't have a high close ratio, like, I didn't wait. To me, it just seems like, honestly, like it comes from a place of scarcity, because it comes from a place of even approaching it from a place of, I'm not going to get the pussy. Sex is inevitable.
Well, see, I'll let you.
So if I go out and I talk to several women, I know that I'm going to get several women's numbers. I'm not worried about the women's numbers I'm not getting, hence not wasting my time, because I'm chalking that up as a part of the game. Every woman is just not going to say yes, but I know that, with my, who I am as a dude, when I go out, my charm or whatever, I'm going to have a certain close ratio. So I know if I talk to 10 women tonight, I'm going to get 3 or 4 numbers. So I'm not worried about whether I'm wasting my time. I'm just going to go out, have a good time, have some drinks, have some laughs with my friends, talk to a few women, and inevitably women will come my way. So my disagreement of it is, to me, coming from a perspective of someone who's saying, hey, I think I'm good with women, because I think that's your perspective. You're coming from the I'm good with women perspective. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm damn good with them.
Right? So that doesn't appear to be a position of strength to me from a person that's saying, hey, I'm good with women. You're just going to go out there, just be you, and you're just going to come home with the numbers in the closing ratio. So why would I be worried about whether my time is wasted? I'm just going out to have a good time anyway. Women and sex are inevitable.
Well, whether I agree or disagree with you, and I explain all this in my book. Number one, I just preface by saying, I say flat out in my book that mode one is not the approach for everybody. That's number one. A lot of people act like I'm trying to force mode one on every heterosexual male on planet Earth. No, mode one ain't for everybody. And one type of person I would say mode one is not really for is what it sounds like you're explaining. I've always said, if you're a guy
Harvey
who
Williams,
doesn't
nigga. I'm black, dude.
What?
Never mind.
Hey, watch the N-word, Silent. You know how they are on this, man.
If you're a guy
my bad.
who time is not that big a deal to you, you don't mind, say, engaging in lengthy conversations with a woman that might not lead to sex, then that's when I say, go ahead and be mode 2 or mode 3 or whatever.
Hey, Harvey Williams, I'm thorough in these spaces. Get the fuck out of here with this. Motherfuckers understand me.
One of the things I would like to see Alan add to his next.
Who is he talking to?
So one of the things I would like to hold on. I got a question. I got something I want to say to ARC, because one of the things I wanted to see ARC do with his next version when he updates mode 1 is to I love for you to bring in like the Myers-Briggs 16 personality types, more conversation about body language, and specifically because I've said this to you before, I think the gym with mode 1 is for guys that are very reserved and that fall under the category in the Myers-Briggs personality testing, that fall into those INTJs, INFP kind of categories. Because I think when you use that term, you use the term beta alpha and alpha betas. I think there's a lot of dudes that they can benefit from using the communication effectiveness aspects of mode 1. That's what I
actually cover. One of those things you mentioned, I do cover in Who Said Again. Body language, read body language. I cover that in Who Said Again. But what I was saying to Silent Lamont is that, yeah, man, I mean, if you're a guy that time is no big deal to you, then that's when I would just simply say to a guy that
That's not what I'm saying either. That's not my argument either, though.
I'm a type of guy that I don't want to talk to a woman for more than roughly 5 minutes if I ain't getting no pussy. If I ain't gonna get no pussy, I don't want to talk to a woman for more than roughly 5 minutes.
But I know I'm gonna get the pussy. That's the difference, though.
But you already said that wasting time ain't no big deal to you. You already said
that's not what I. That's not. You trying to put what I'm saying within a box to make your argument, my brother.
Dude,
what I said was,
let me ask you this: how do you go about identifying women? I
laid out the visual of me and my friends going out. ARC, you trying to pigeonhole it to you said that you just got to limit. That's not what the fuck I said. What I said was getting women is inevitable. I ain't worried about when I go out. I am going to get women at the end of the night. So I go out, I have fun, I'm charming, I have some drinks with my friends, I meet a few women, I have some laugh, and the byproduct of that is women just are attracted to me. Listen, I understand if you're coming from the aspect of a guy that has scarcity. Mode 1 would make sense. I disagree with
that. It's about abundance. I'm all about abundance. Okay, I feel like if there's a bunch of women out here for me to fuck, why I need to waste time talking to 45 minutes talking to one bitch? Why?
I didn't say I need to talk to one bitch for 45 minutes.
It sounds like you implying that.
I didn't imply it or say that. You said that.
Okay, let me ask you this. Have you ever had sex with a woman within 20 minutes after meeting them?
Say what?
Have you ever had sex with a woman within 20 minutes after meeting them without spending any money on them?
Yes.
How did you do it?
But actually, I didn't do much. The chick was with her friend who was talking with one of my buddies, and I was just back here just being, my normal snarky self. And then she just laughing at all my shit. We get to the parking lot. She's like, "Hey, I just want to go home and fuck." I took her home and fucked her.
Okay, so she was mode 1 with you then.
Say what?
She was mode 1 with you then.
I call it.
She was just a woman who wanted to fuck me because I'm fucking.
It was mode 1. She said she wanted to fuck.
That's mode 0, Alan. I think we should call that mode 0 when the woman.
I do call that mode. I did a video where I talked about mode 0. I don't talk about it that much, but yeah, that's mode 0 is when a woman is basically mode 1 with you. I call that mode 0 situation.
But that is just congruent with what the fuck I just said though about it being inevitable. I didn't have to go into the situation like, if I don't get this bitch to do this within the first 10, I don't go in there with that whole mind frame.
I don't get your argument. What are you trying to debate me on is what I'm asking. What are you debating me on?
I'm not debating on anything. I thought we were having a conversation.
What's the point? Why are you up here then?
Are you listening to what I'm saying, bro? Or you just go get emotional with me like you did other dudes, man?
I'm tired of these discussions, man.
All right,
people come up here. I don't think mode 1 is all that. I done heard that like 10 million times.
Bro, I came up here with respect. See,
silent. We got your opinion. And ARC City answers, so let's move on to Xanatos because he's up here as well.
Y'all gonna ask me to come up here. What you talking about? Y'all acting like I'm bothering this dude.
No, I'm saying let Xanatos get his shine, and then you can get the mic back, bro. I'm saying pass the mic.
Jeez.
But hold on. You know what, Silent? I think you got one more thing you want to say. ARC, go ahead and say it. Just say it, man.
No, we good. I came up here with love, bro. And y'all act like I'm bothered to do because I'm giving the pushback. Like you get all mad.
Bro, hey, I invited you up here because I'm with the pushback. But I'm saying if you got some, say exactly what you want to say to ARC, bro.
I said everything. I've been completely straightforward. What the fuck?
All right. Here's the thing. He said everything he said, and I respectfully disagree with it. So that's what I'm saying.
No, you got all
what do we need to talk about?
Come on, man. I'm always
he said, I think mode 1 is representative of possessing a scarcity mindset. I said, no. I believe mode 1 is representative of an abundance mindset.
You don't agree.
Obviously, we're not going to agree on that shit.
Listen, I respect that, but I ain't gonna get all angry with you and shit. Like, I thought we was cool, but you get all pissed off at me, nigga. Like,
I guarantee you, I put money on this. If you was in my position, you might not agree, but I guarantee you, if you was to listen to all the shit I listen to on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis over a period of roughly 20 years, you would be a bit irritated too.
Listen, ARC. Listen. I'm like Erica Badu. I can't be responsible for Tim, James, Paul, and Tyrone. All right.
All right, with
Silent them off in the
Xanatos, you
same.
got the mic. All right, with that,
Okay, I shut up.
Xanatos, you got the mic.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep, got you, bro. You on?
All right, cool. First of all, shout out to all of you on the panel, including the ARC. Shout out to, well, most of you all in the chat, but we got to look at this from the perspective of just people wanting this kind of stuff. I know I was just going by the thumbnail, and I was just seeing how you were suspecting how one individual was here, basically the sabotage Manosphere. But check this out. The majority of people, particularly the audience, they're sabotaging themselves because they are supporting the kind of caricatures and individuals that ARC states that the Manosphere is stereotyped by the mainstream media, mainly the bitter guys and the pseudo incel guys. Now, whether these guys are playing characters or these guys are actual, that's nonetheless what's ruining the Manosphere is that these guys are the ones that are getting all the super chats, all the support, all the views, all the likes, while those who actually preach solutions don't get anything whatsoever. And it's funny that a lot of these guys talk about, well, say for instance, the big argument right now is that, well, you know, with all this Me Too stuff and all this false accusations, it's only to the guys that they aren't attracted to. ARC, since you're here, I want to ask you just one question.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that these individuals, even when they have their own answers, they don't even take the advice? For instance, well, if I was attractive, she wouldn't accuse me. Well, how about become attractive? How about become the guy that she wants? My question to you mainly is, why do you think that these guys don't take their own advice in order to become more successful and just put themselves in harder positions in which you have to jump through more hoops?
Because it's plain and simply, a lot of guys don't want to put in the work, and they have developed and maintained negative and pessimistic attitudes from a lot of these so-called black pill content creators. That one of the things a lot of these black pill content creators tell guys is personal development ain't gonna help you, self-improvement ain't gonna help you. Basically, more specifically, like improving your looks, losing weight, gaining weight, dressing better, that ain't gonna help you. You know, because all these women ain't shit and blah, 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 blah. And so, yeah, they just buy into that. And now one of the things that, well, I shouldn't say now, it's really been going on for a while. But again, the be-all, end-all solution is tricking and whining and dining, spending money on women, which is ridiculous. Again, now, whining and dining, that's legal. It sets you up to be played like a simp, but at least it's legal. Tricking is illegal in most cities. And again, as we start off talking at the very beginning conversation, I just can't believe that you have so many content creators endorsing and promoting and condoning tricking when it's and the guy just Hudson, see, it used to be in most cities, solicitation for prostitution was either a class 1 or class A misdemeanor or class B misdemeanor. Brother Hudson, who super chatted, said in Texas it's now a felony. So that's even more of a wake-up call. It's moving up from misdemeanor to a felony.
Why would a person whose main stilo is about not wasting your time be against a byproduct that of which is tricking, right? Isn't that what the argument of tricking is? They're arguing what you're arguing. I'm not wasting my time. I'm bypassing all the nigga dancing by paying $40. I mean, am I missing something?
Actually,
I mean, it would seem like
since
you
you
be on the same side.
there, you need to go on my channel and look at my next to last video.
No. Not,
I don't issue. You just.
I'm asking you now. Why would you guys be on different sides of the coin?
The simple answer is it's illegal. But I actually did compliment in terms of not wasting time. I complimented tricking in my next to last video. I said, if you take the legalities, the potential legal repercussions and consequences off the table, I basically said that tricking is very, very similar to being Mo 1. I lightheartedly call them first cousins to each other.
Okay, so I'm not crazy by saying that.
I just want to be verbally bold and verbally direct with women about what you want. The only difference is with tricking, you're offering money to guarantee yourself reciprocation.
But
and
isn't
therefore
that,
makes
but
it
wouldn't that
illegal.
be a better selling point? I mean, wouldn't you want, I mean, why wouldn't you want a guarantee? I mean, wouldn't you want value for your
It's
I
illegal.
mean, if we're making this
I'm
shit
not going to
transactional,
promote tricking as long as it's illegal. It's illegal.
I mean, okay, if you're gonna have the legality argument, then you're gonna put the Trump card on the legality, because that ain't the argument. The argument is about
It's the argument for me. They're not arguing for anybody. It's the number one argument for me. The shit's
well,
illegal.
you got me. Well, you got me.
I'm not going to promote an illegal activity that can land somebody in jail.
You got me in the corner. I mean, if you do the me personally, then yes, you got me in the corner. That's a Trump card.
So let me get this super chat real quick. The Sneak 2008 says sexual harassment is usually for the unattractive guy. Me Too is for select men who played, pumped, and dumped, or a woman who had remorseful regret sex. That's interesting that you said it about the Me Too thing with select men, because I actually saw that. I really haven't really seen too many select guys get hit with the Me Too. So you're saying that hashtag Me Too is for select men who played, pumped, and dumped. See, I haven't really seen that. All the guys, for the most part that I've seen, get hit with this Me Too. Most of them have been, I would say, non-select guys. I really can't name one off the top of my head that was like a truly, truly select dude that got hit with a Me Too case. So if you got some information on that, share it with us.
Sigma, brother, real talk.
Yeah.
I live in Dallas, man, and I'm around these cats, and more men than these dudes would think. A lot of these dudes that you would think, all these alpha dudes or whatever, bullshit. These dudes are paying. Like, y'all really like got to get off the damn internet, man. This shit sound good on paper, but a lot of these dudes, a vast majority of these guys are paying. Fuck you seeing just in your own news stream that the top selected NBA sports stars, they're all paying for it. What are you talking about?
So here's the question then. But here's the question, Silent. So Silent, even if what you say is true, here's my thought on it. There's some guys that are paying for it that are in that class, but there's other guys that are so sexually desirable to the female targets that they don't have to pay for it.
Man, them dudes is like
Silent, hold on, bro. Silent, hold on, bro.
Yeah.
I'll give an example. I was listening to a couple years back. I remember 50 Cent was being interviewed, and he was talking about his crew at the time and how he couldn't understand how dudes would leave with their wallet because the pussy was already there being thrown on the table. What I'm saying is that we all pay for our activity with a woman in terms of money, energy, time, and resources. So the point 50 was making is that, well, the money should be the last. Why would you give her something that she doesn't even asking for? She's sexually attracted to you. Women like sex too. See, when I hear this conversation, it almost seems like a lot of dudes in this space, even despite all the evidence we have coming from the schools of psychology, the schools on sexual biology, women like sex too, bro. So I'm just saying, why does that get taken off the table as if these women don't like sex? They're just a product you take off the shelf. No, you just heard ARC say that he knows pimps who tell him how much these prostitutes enjoy getting fucked and getting paid. So you're a worker because you're paying her, you're banging her good, and she's getting all the prizes. You're just getting the nut, but she's getting the nut. She's getting the prizes. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that I feel that a lot of people use the tricking as a cover for insecurities that they've refused to deal with in terms of their position in the sexual marketplace. I'll give an example myself. Well, let's say I can get an 8. Just strictly off, I walk out the crib with a t-shirt on and some sneakers and jogging pants. I get an 8 because she thinks I'm sexually attractive. Okay, but now I could pay to get the 10. I'm just saying, for me, I would much rather get that.
But that's not a real life example, though, man.
It happens every day. It happens every day.
Yeah, it does happen every day to a vast, small percentage of the mass majority of men are not walking outside in jeans and t-shirts and bagging an 8. I'm sorry. Like, these arguments sound good, like, writing it in a paragraph of Facebook but the mass majority of men have access to basic bitches. That's the truth.
But hold on, all jurisdictions don't have the same average. Like I've been like when I went to New York for the first time, right? The average went up. So it just depends on where you're located at. So a brother that's living in LA, a brother that's living in Miami or Chicago, the average is gonna go up in comparison to a guy that might be living in, you know, a city that's not in the top 100. So I think that
yes, but it's still happening. You just say a guy, yes, a 1%. Listen, math is
I don't believe that 1%, bro. I don't believe that. It's not just 1%. See, that's what I'm saying.
It ain't just 1%.
Silence. That's why I keep on hearing.
I'm exaggerating, but man, if I could clearly get like what I'm saying is, I understand it exists, but you know, it's funny that we have these conversations.
Silent, I asked you a question though, and you didn't answer it yet.
What's the question?
Do you believe there's a lot of guys?
A lot of guys. Well, you have to define a lot. I don't like a lot.
Let's just say 51. Okay, let's just say a threshold amount, people, 51% or something like that, right? Do you think a lot of guys that lead with their wallet haven't done the work internally that could expand their dating options organically, is what I'm saying. I'm not against a person choosing to do with their money. You know that by now.
Answer your question. Let me answer it, because you add too much shit into it. You're answering your own question.
Go ahead.
So the question is, do I think that the majority of guys who lead with their wallet, when I think most men lead with their wallet anyway, so I think that's a misnomer, because the mass majority of men lead with their wallet. But do I think 51? Yes, I think the answer is yes, because I think more than 51% of men still have work to do on themselves internally, maybe. Yes, I guess is a context to that question. Yes, because I think most men do lead with their money. Most men do pay. Hey, hell, we have right now in the Manosphere, I mean, the whole high value man conversation. That's leading with your wallet. A man pays for everything. We're all leading with your wallet, because the mass majority of us can't
all doing that. Don't do that.
I don't agree with that, bro. I just don't do that. Silence. You made your point, bro. You gotta share the mic. ARC,
I just said I'm good with that, and I shut up.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody lead with their wallet. When I was solely and specifically, I said this on a number of videos on my own channel. If nothing else, man, well, there's really two things that prevented me from resorting to tricking. The biggest one was honestly, my fucking ego. And it relates to something you said, King Sigma. You said it's basic fact that nobody can dispute. Women enjoy getting fucked as much as we enjoy fucking them. My attitude was, why am I going to pay a bitch to have just as much fun as I'm having?
Because you're trying to save time.
I'm trying to sell dick instead of buy pussy.
But you said that you're winning even when you don't get the pussy.
I'm a sell dick.
You're winning even if you don't get the pussy.
When you're a car salesman, you don't sell all the cars, but you still continue to sell.
You said that's why I asked you that. What's the cozy ratio? You said you winning whether you fucking or not. You said you winning whether you fucking or not.
I ain't paying for no bitch.
You push back because you said even though you go home jerking your dick,
paying for no bitch.
And I'm fucking the bitch you wanted. You won because you didn't waste your time.
I ain't paying for no bitch. If you're willing to pay for the bitch, power to you.
Listen, I'm not saying I am or not. I'm attacking your concept. That's the problem with you.
I ain't paying for no casual.
I'm attacking your concept. Because the concept is about saving your time.
With foreign women,
the concept is about saving your time.
I don't need to pay money to not waste my motherfucking time.
Okay, you going home
alone. To spend money to not waste my motherfucking time.
Yes, you say that.
What do you think Mo One is all about?
You keep saying you won because you went
home. Hold on. ARC, hold on. Silent, let ARC respond, and then I gotta let Xanatos get the mic because he's been letting you guys go at it for a while. So, we'll come back to you, Silent. But
King Sigma is the argument that Silent Lamont seems to be making is literally the argument I addressed on my next to last video on my channel, which is that because I keep hearing guys say, well, tricking is probably the most effective way to get women in bed if your objective is to save time. Shit, Mo One is the most effective way.
Okay, so we saying the same shit. I didn't watch your last video.
Huh?
I didn't watch your last video, so we saying the same shit. I didn't watch your last video.
Well, so I'm reiterating it since you didn't watch it.
That's right. Why didn't we just have this big ass conversation just for you to agree? Just for you to agree.
Mo One is what comes everything that Trigger accomplished without you spending no money. Period. End of story.
All right, right there. So hold on. That's a natural place to pause. Xanatos, you got the mic.
And everyone's saying that Silent Mod, oh, he's trolling. Unfortunately, his mindset is the majority mindset of the quote unquote manosphere and the red pill spaces, especially in 2021, which is why I say this. First of all, with all due respect to King Sigma, ARC, and those guys, this is why I'm not part of this manosphere stuff. It's a parody of what it once was. And anyone who wants to associate me with this kind of mindset, yeah, you will be meeting lawyers. Anyway, so I just want to get that out of the way.
Say that Silent is the same dude that has stood in the gun sights of a lot of these arguments for brothers. So you know what? You may disagree with me, but Silent Lamont in the 6 years I've been in this fucking space ain't did shit but have brothers back. So I'm tired of you motherfuckers just because you agree with me. Keep attacking me and keep making me out to be these brothers and this fucking mentality. All right? I stand up for brothers, and I have always. And I'm tired of fucking taking arrows from you niggas. Now you can disagree with me. All right, this real talk. But stop fucking making me out to be this nigga, that nigga. Because I ain't done nothing but stand up for you motherfuckers.
So hold on. So Xanatos, that last point you made, could you go in a little bit deeper on that? The last point you made.
Yeah, I am in my feelings, nigga, because you niggas ungrateful.
Oh, silent, bro. You gonna get the stream knocked. I can't have that, bro.
Oh, my bad, G.
Come on, Xanatos.
And that's this kind of energy that keeps permeating that a lot of these guys.
It is the energy that keeps black people not together. Because anytime we disagree, I got to be this or that. I'm on your team, and I'm tired of y'all taking personal shots.
But silent. You're not letting the brother respond. Let the brother respond.
You know what? Y'all got it, bro. Hey, man.
All right, thanks for coming up, bro. Appreciate you. You got it.
You can stay up. Well, stay up.
Y'all done ran the brother off. But all right, you got his Xanatos, man.
Yeah, man. I was just gonna say this. Shout out to a YouTuber, very not well known, but he's very underrated in my opinion. A guy called Diamond Dave. He talks about stocks, particularly options trading. But one video he made that definitely hit home for the space, for the manosphere space, is the ultimate. This is a red pill video. I don't know what it was called, but he basically alluded it to saying that a lot of guys within this space, their ultimate goal is basically to drive down the cost of tricking, or the drive down the cost of tricking. And a lot of these, I'll be honest, what I see these days is just that a lot of guys clamoring just to get it as low as possible. And I honestly support that in a way. The thing is that a lot of these guys want to pay for it in the sense that they want to trick on it. I'm like, look, go to the gym, improve your social skills, or you want to call it mouthpiece, whatever. But and so you won't even have to pay for it. You can attract someone genuinely by just being you. There are people who can get it just for being themselves, believe it or not. I just think that we have a lot of guys in the space who happen to not get it because of being themselves, whether it's for one reason or another. And a lot of these guys are also dealing with environments where, oh, you may not get it by being yourself just because you aren't a savage or whatever. You don't have that quote unquote swag. What I say is, yo, there are other environments where you don't have to be a complete and total savage or have quote unquote hood swag in order to get out. Now back to ARC. I know you said yourself, you came from an environment where you were, it was Gary, Indiana, but you were in a middle-class Gary, Indiana environment. Now, granted, you grew up being, for the most part, select, but did you notice that, say, for instance, if you weren't gifted athletically, would you have had a problem getting the kind of woman you got, given that you didn't have, given that you, how should I say this? You know what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
Okay, it sounds, well, I've often commented on my channel that when I was a senior year, my senior in high school, I was probably no one year in my life where I had pussy just like thrown it. And I wasn't a varsity athlete. I tried to be. I went out for the basketball team, but I didn't make it because my strength, I had hops. I could dunk at a height of 5'10", but I couldn't dribble with my left hand. So I didn't make the basketball.
Oh yeah, that'll kill you in varsity. I've seen a lot of guys that
you got to be ambidextrous.
Yeah, you gotta be able to dribble with both hands. I've seen a lot of dudes get cut that had like natural athleticism, but the problem with not being able to dribble with both hands, you get shut down too easily.
Yeah. See, now if you play, to get on a quick side note, if you play like power forward, center, or even in some cases small forward, a lot of coaches will still put you on a team if you're not ambidextrous and you can't use your left hand. But if you're at a height where you can only play point guard or shooting guard,
Yeah.
you gotta be ambidextrous.
Yeah, you was at point guard height, 5'10".
Yeah, I was point guard height. So anyway, to get to Xanato's point, what's the infamous story of mine is that because I worked out so diligently to make the basketball team, the bad news was I didn't make the basketball team, neither my junior or senior year, but the consolation prize, I had a really nice physique from just working out like a Hebrew slave. I had this really nice physique, and women like came out the woodworks, like just throwing pussy at me left and right. So that was probably the number one time in my life, if no other year, where I really didn't have to quote unquote work for pussy. It just was like kind of handed to me on a silver platter. Now, where that kind of fucked me up is that I at that time, delusionally, I thought the rest of my life was going to be like that. I was like, shit, I'm always going to get pussy like this. But the first wake-up call was simply the very next year, which was my freshman year at Indiana University. Women didn't just throw pussy at me simply because I was good looking. I mean, every now and then I would say they did. But compared to like high school, women would come with that, oh, you got to get to know me, or I got to be in a relationship with you, or this and that. And I ended up getting friend zoned a lot. And that's what ultimately led me to my Mode 1 approach, because I got a decent amount of pussy, but there was almost an equal amount of women, if not slightly higher amount of women, that would give me the impression they wanted to give me some pussy, but really they just wanted to friend zone my ass. And that would get me frustrated. And then that's what evolved to my Mode 1 approach. When I wanted to be able to quickly identify if a woman was just being a cock teaser, an attention whore, just wasting my motherfucking time. So I would get straight to the point. I would basically be like, yo, what's up? You attracted to me? You attracted to me enough to give me that pussy? We fucking? That might have not been my exact words each and every instance, but essentially that was my attitude with every woman, was like, hey, before we get into this lengthy conversation, I need to know, you attracted to me enough to give me that pussy? Because if not, I ain't trying to have this conversation. And you can say that's how the legend of Mode 1 went on. And so, and then that 84, 85 school year at IU, man, it's like my pussy just exponentially went up. Once I started being Mode 1, again, I was already getting pussy. But once I started getting Mode 1, I mean, it was like throwing strikes at the bowling alley. I was just getting, and that's when I realized, again, going back to a point that King Sigma made. The more I was Mode 1, the more I realized, because see, I think I used to subconsciously think that it's us men who are the ones that are horny and want sex, and women are kind of indifferent towards it. Bullshit. Women want to be fucked, especially if you know how to talk dirty to women, which I'm a master at. Once I would talk dirty to women, they would start saying something like, oh shit, oh, you get my pussy wet. Oh.
You know why? ARC, when you listen to the sex biologists, they talk about the fact that men, we don't need much priming of the pump. Women, that's why women are so unpredictable sometimes, because women need a lot of priming of the pump in certain situations. So when you're talking dirty to them, that primes that pump. You see what I'm saying? And I think people underestimate that. I don't know how many times brothers got to be told. Men.
Oh, that's what my book, Who Said Again. I was just talking about that on my last video. Matter of fact, I think the video you watched, because a lot of guys be telling me, they said, man, Alan, that if there's one book is underrated and needs to be higher priced, it's your book, Who Said Again. That's my mouthpiece book, man. I break down all the ins and outs of talking dirty, but without getting lengthy. Yeah, man, once I discovered the power of talking dirty, along with the combining talking dirty with bold, straightforward honesty, I was like, holy shit. Getting pussy is like taking candy from a baby, which brings me to my point. The way I was getting pussy, particularly in my 20s, I never even had a temptation to trick. I mean, I looked at tricking almost like ridiculously unnecessary. Because again, once I combine bold, straightforward honesty with smooth, seductive, kinky, erotic, dirty talk, man, I was getting pussy super easy. I mean, like super easy.
1 second, Alan. This brother, The Sneak, says, you're telling black men to do 7th grade math the long way instead of just using a calculator. Money is the calculator in this modern dating scene. Use it. So that's his argument against what you're saying, Alan.
I say, fuck that.
That's what I never understood, because growing up, I was always taught that from the older men in my family that tricking was something that dudes that were over 50 did, because you're not in your physical prime. So I was always taught that was something that older men did because they were no longer in their physical prime, and also it was something that you did when you went outside of your natural range. And what I mean is that every man has like a natural sexual market value just based off his aesthetics and his face, right? So let's say you're a guy who your natural range, when you don't have to do much of anything, but women will say he's cute. So let's say it's 6 to 8, where you can get 6s just showing up, don't gotta say anything, get the number, just don't say nothing dumb. You got it. The 7s a little bit harder. The 8s you gotta do a little bit more work with, but in that natural range. And that was the second category, is that if you try to go outside of that range, then it was always understood that that's when you might trick, when your natural range is 6 to 8, and then you want a 9 to 10, then you would trick. That's how I always thought. But then I came here, and these guys are like, no, just pay all of them, even the ones that are below your range, where you're actually doing them a favor. Pay them too. This is stupid.
See that? You went where I was actually tempted to go a little bit earlier in this conversation, but I bit my tongue. But since you went there, yeah, see, when I was growing up, I would say the same thing, man, and you younger than me. But when I was growing up, man, the guys I hung around with, we looked at tricking, and I'm probably going to hurt some feelings, bruise some little egos, because I don't really like to pass judgment on people's looks and stuff. But we looked at, the guys I hung around with, we looked at tricking for guys, number one, like King Tim said, were old, like guys in their 50s and 60s who wanted to have sex with women in their 20s. Number two, if they were under 50, guys who were ugly and or fat. Ugly and or real fat. Those are guys we stereotyped as turning to tricking. Because most good-looking guys who consider themselves good-looking, well, our attitude was like, man, I'm too good-looking to fucking pay a bitch for some pussy. She should be paying me for my dick. That was definitely the attitude I had. I was like, I wish I would pay a bitch for some pussy. Bitch, you better be buying me dinner to get this dick. And I did. I was on Bernard's one time, and I was talking about, when I lived in LA, I had 2 sugar mamas, man. I was what's known as a kept man. A kept man is the male equivalent to a woman being a sugar baby. I had women paying for my dick, man. I had women paying my rent, buying me clothes, let me use their cars, all that shit, man. I couldn't imagine myself trying to trick. Now, I did make an exception, and I've openly admitted on a small channel. I don't want to ever be guilty of saying I've never, ever tricked. The 2 times I tricked one time in Tijuana, Mexico, and I tricked with some women when I was in Amsterdam in 2010. So I have tricked with some foreign women, but that was because they didn't speak or understand American English. So all they could say is sucky fucky. I couldn't talk dirty to them.
And I know you weren't paying for no chick that was an average chick you could knock on your block in Indiana or Chicago.
Well, exactly. But because I feel like my mouthpiece and my ability to talk dirty to a woman is so powerful and effective with a woman that can speak and understand English that I've never, ever felt the need to come out with some money out my pocket like, yo, I give you $75 if you suck my dick or you give me. No. Again, ego. Oh, I was going to say the second thing. The 2 things was ego, number 1. Number 2, when I was younger, I was broke most of the time. So let's say even if I wanted to trick, I didn't have the money to trick. I talk about that all the time on my channel. When I was in my 20s and 30s, most of the time, man, I was broke and in between jobs. The last thing I had in my budget was money to spend on some pussy. So that's where Mode 1 comes into play. Mode 1 helps motherfuckers who are broke.
So Alan, let me just stop you 1 second. So shout out DB Lifestyle. He says ARC will make Jordan basketball skills work in the NBA in 2021 to make it simple. Now, the brother Silent Lamont was a panelist earlier, and he was saying like he's saying that you do trick, and he's saying that. Let me bring it up. So the question he asked was, ask him how many vacations he took that young girl, and he's saying that to get a younger girl that you had to go into trick mode.
No, bro. You talking about everybody going, man, no, number one, don't compare marriage to casual sex. That's the number one thing I see problem with. If he talking about by a young girl, my wife is in a totally different category. Yeah, I have taken my wife on a cruise, but she ain't a fuck buddy. And I always distinguish that on my channel, and even when I'm on other people's live streams. I've never been against a guy being to some degree financially generous with a woman that's his wife, fiance, or long-term girlfriend. That ain't tricking. Tricking is when you paying for casual sex. That's tricking. Tricking is when you're paying for casual sex. That's what I'm adamant about. I don't pay for casual sex. Ever. Never have. And I'm 58. Again, with the exception when I was in Tijuana, Mexico, and Amsterdam, Netherlands. I ain't never paid for casual sex. Ever. When I look at a woman as a fuck buddy, I just tell them I want to fuck them and they say yay or nay. But yeah, if you're going to go into the territory of long-term girlfriends, fiancés, and wives, hell yeah, I'll spend money on that tip. I don't deny that. Hell yeah, my wife. Shit, I want my wife and my son to have the best of life. So yeah, I'm gonna spend money on my wife and son. You goddamn right, without shame or apology.
All right, respect that. So you got your answer, Silent. So Xanatos, and I want to get Red Pill Roger. I don't know who you are. You got the mic. And then
Red
Xanatos.
Pill Ruger.
So
Red Pill Ruger.
you got it.
Peace to the chat. Peace to King Sigma. Peace to ARC, man. I got all your books. You know what I'm saying? You hook me up with
Appreciate that, brother.
Oh, of course, brother. It's all good over here, man. Listen, bro. It's usually the men with the pushback, like MOT and Silent Lamont. You see, it's never usually the women. And you need to just come on these panels with a dog face, man, because I know you insert the dog face on brothers, but you might as well
Hey,
hit
Red
these
Bill,
panels with dog face.
excuse me for interjecting, but please repeat that just for me, man. Just please repeat that, man.
I said it's usually the men and not the women with the pushback of mode 1. And you might as well hit the panels with the dog face already up, you know what I'm saying, on the image of the thumbnail for these people that do not do their research and then judge it before they even do the research. All right? So, look, man, I used mode 1 before and I got pussy off of it. And to be honest, while I was using it, you know, as I was trying to get into it, I got a little anxious. But as I started fucking the girl, I was smashing her. You know what I'm saying? I got into the groove. But after I used mode 1, I was so shocked. It made me so surprised and anxious that it worked. You know what I'm saying? Before I put my dick in her. You know what I'm saying? But it still worked. What was I about to say, man? Man, ever since I got into this red pill shit, I got less pussy. You know what I'm saying? And I paid for pussy even more until I discovered mode 1. Mode 1 is our weapon, fellas. It's our secret weapon. And porn is going to weaken it. Dressing good is going to weaken it if you rely on that. Escorts is going to weaken that weapon. You know what I'm saying? It's going to weaken your force to use the mode 1. You got to use it, fellas, because listen, betas, they get feminine energy by fucking only. That's the only time they get feminine energy from girls. Girls don't respect them. So, but guess what? You can't pay for feminine energy. Every time you pay for pussy, you're not guaranteed a girl giving you feminine energy. Plus, you're not guaranteed good sex. With that mode 1 approach, you can activate her genuine desire for you, and y'all can have a good ass fucking time. Because guess what, fellas? We designed to have good casual sex with these girls, man. That's how to start a real good relationship. To be honest with you. Now, you know what I'm saying? And no risk, no reward. Look, man, and y'all creating the very monsters that y'all talk about. When you intimate with a prostitute, you're being intimate with her, man. This is who you really bonded with, and the same people you complain about, which is gold diggers, you are mating with them, and you're reproducing more gold diggers, and you're motivating them, like you're supporting their goal to charge men for money. You're supporting tricking. You're supporting this toxic cycle of men coming out their pocket for pussy, and you're not guaranteed feminine energy. I hope that makes a lot of sense for y'all.
Red Pill Ruger. Is it Ruger?
Yeah, Ruger. But listen, hold on, Eric. Sorry about that, sir. Can you please hold on real quick? I'm sorry about that. We've talked before, Red Pill ARC. We've talked a lot of times, actually.
Oh, I must have forgot your username. But man, I'm gonna say this, bro. You just broke down some shit, and I hope guys in the chat room was listening. You echoed almost all of my sentiments on everything you talked about. I'll do a recap on 2 or 3 things.
So Alan,
I'm not
hold on a second, Red Pill. Hold on, I just want to ask Alan. This is something I want to ask him. Does a natural alpha have to pay for sex? Yes or
no? No. When you use the word have, now it's 2 different words. Since you said have, then my answer would definitely be no. Now, if you were to ask me, are there some alpha males that at different times might choose to trick in certain situations? I would probably say yes. But if you would ask me, does any smooth, seductive, womanizing alpha male have to trick? My answer would be hell no, because that would defeat the purpose of him being my categorization anyway of a smooth, seductive, womanizing alpha male. That's in my books. That's my definition of a smooth, seductive, womanizing alpha male is a guy that can get pussy, specifically casual sex, for free. He ain't never got a trick. He ain't never got a wine and dine. He can get pussy just on a combination of his looks, his persuasive charm and charisma and confidence and alphaness, and his mouthpiece. I talk about that all the time on my channel. If you don't get a pussy just on those 3 things, and you ain't never got to spend, that's when I categorize a guy as a smooth, seductive, womanizing alpha male. On the flip side, what I call a beta male with alpha traits, what a lot of other guys now call a high value man, that's the guy who's just the opposite. He gotta pay for pussy. He ain't never gonna get casual sex for free, like ever. At least not with a fine bitch. He might get with an ugly bitch, but a woman that say on average is 7 and above, a beta male with alpha traits, he ain't gonna never get no casual sex for free, ever.
Did you just associate a beta male with alpha traits with being a high value man?
I do that in my book, No Free Attention. Yeah, I basically say what most guys call a high value man, I call in my books a beta male with alpha traits.
Could we also affiliate those 2 terms with Ron Willis' masked men? Because they sound similar.
Yeah, with the masked men. What is?
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ron Willis' masked men.
I know Ron select versus non-select, but I don't know if I'm familiar with the masked man.
See, I always hear guys talk about this time element, but in my experience, most women that are attracted to you, there ain't no more wasted time than it is to go find a prostitute. In my experience, most women, if you just go out anywhere and meet her, get her number, hit her up 1 or 2 times, boom, she comes through. And if you don't want to see her again, she's gone. I'm always hearing about like as if guys got to put in like weeks and weeks to get with a female. Most women, it's probably best to close the deal within 2 weeks, I would say. But
you know what it is, King Sigma? Most men don't got their own house. They don't got a car. They don't got places to fuck a girl. So they don't have a plan. They don't know what they doing. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to lead to my question, ARC. But before I say that, I want to say when you trade sex, when you trade a reward for sex, it's going to guarantee the opposite genuine desire from a woman. She's not going to want you that much when you offer money or some type of gift or whatever. The best way to get it from her is to talk that game or touch her or whatever. It's to like do the foreplay and shit. That's the best way to get it. Listen, when you meet from the lip and not from the hip, you gonna work out. But when you meet from the hip, it's over. When you come out the pocket, they gonna look at you like the truth. They're not gonna respect you. A woman's biggest respect reward is sex. Your goal is to get respect from this girl, and the best reward she gonna give you out of respect is not just money or a gift. It's gonna be that pussy or that mouth. You know what I'm saying?
And Rapio Ruger, I'm sure you see my videos where I have that hashtag alpha male respect. And it's something for a lot of, honestly, man, you can't really just explain it to them. They just had to experience for themselves. But yeah, man, there's a difference, man, between fucking a woman that you can tell has a boatload of alpha male respect for you versus getting just what I call beta male pity pussy. Like the average street prostitute with their client. don't respect the motherfuckers that are being sexually desperate and paying them. They looking at them dudes as just it's pity pussy for business. Pity pussy for business. Now, I want to address something I saw in the chat room. Somebody, and I keep hearing this argument, next to saving tricking helps you save time, some guys will say, well, Alan, with all due respect, I know a lot of guys, the reason why they pay for pussy is not they paying for the actual sex, but they paying for that woman to either leave them alone or be discreet, private, confidential, and discreet about their sexual interaction, particularly if they're married or engaged to be married or got a girlfriend. That ain't valid to me because it relates to what I was just talking about. If you're a true alpha man and you know how to get a woman to submit to you, she gonna follow your commands, period. You ain't got to come out with no cash. I can't tell you how many women that have been kept my sexual business with them private, discreet, confidential, just because I told them to. I didn't say, hey, here's $100 for you to keep your mouth shut. I was basically like, hey, bitch, you better not tell nobody about our interactions. They would say, yes, sir. Because you think because you got money and you pay a woman, that automatically means you, number one, if you ain't got no NDA in effect, you're delusional. If you ain't got no contract, non-disclosure agreement, what's called a confidentiality agreement, in effect, you don't have her sign, that don't mean you paying the money don't mean shit. Real talk, that don't mean shit. And even in some cases, I'll give you one example where NDA was in place and it still backfired. Tiger Woods, one of his mistresses, when he was married, he had her sign. A lot of wealthy professional athletes and politicians do this. When they want to have like a side bitch, they have them sign an NDA, which basically says, if you blab your mouth, I can take you to court and sue you. Tiger Woods did that with one of his mistresses. She signed NDA, and then a year or two later, she still ran her fucking mouth. She still ran her Bill Cosby, the bitch with Bill Cosby did that. She signed a fucking confidentiality agreement, and she still ran her fucking mouth. She got paid, and she signed an NDA, and still ran her mouth, which is what caused Bill Cosby to get thrown in prison. So don't tell me about that shit. Hey, if you pay a woman, she'll get, if you're a dominant motherfucker, you just look a woman dead in the eyes as you say, bitch, don't open your mouth.
And let's just take this from the perspective of their arguments of, oh, you're paying for them to leave or you're paying for them to not say anything. Trust me, if guys are resorting to tricking, a woman's not going to brag about it because you're probably not that good in the bed to begin with. So you won't have to worry about the confidentiality stuff. And as far as leaving, most of these guys, from what I can feel, they can't wait to leave. They aren't sitting there trying to cuddle with you, trying to spoon and all this other kind of stuff. Trust me. So that excuse, I don't buy it. And as far as the other stuff that irks me about a lot of guys, particularly in that space, all right, they want to trick or whatever. They want to do all this. They want to do all that. All right, cool. Why is it that these same guys are the ones who are shaming women who actually give them some by saying, oh, she's for the streets. Oh, she gave it up too quick. She's a dog. Did you ever think that in your mind that wouldn't drive up the price of getting women in the first place? Seriously?
Boom.
Hey, can I say this real quick? When you talk to a girl, talk to her left ear. You know what I'm saying? Because it talks to her creative side. It activates her creative side. It's a science to that. What is it, the left ear or the right ear, ARC?
Huh?
I just think
left
it's
ear,
caveman
left ear.
thinking. I just think it's caveman thinking at this point to tell yourself that women don't like sex a lot. I didn't hear nothing like this in real life until I came to these spaces. Everyone I know understands this in real life, that women love sex, bro. You could just tell by the reaction once you're done banging them, bro. Like some of these women, they're shaky after you fuck them. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about they're ready to go run through a volcano of fire for you when they truly sexually desire you. So I think that guys are trying to set this idea as if women are just these frigid, prude, creatures without a clitoris, and it's nonsense in 2021. It just did. But hey, guys, I gotta give me something to eat, man. I'm gonna put Alan Roger Curry's
Dang, I wanted to ask him a question, man. I wanted to ask him,
go ahead and ask him.
I wanted to ask him, where can I use Mo 1 at? What place? Like the mall, the fucking store?
Anywhere where there's a heterosexual or bisexual woman. Anywhere.
Anywhere? All right, bet. Damn.
Particularly, ideally, I always tell guys, now inevitably you're going to run into groups here and there. It's almost inevitable. But generally, I tell men, Mo 1 is most effective when you could talk to a woman one-on-one. Like, I used to go to a lot of bookstores back in the day, and women would always be at bookstores by themselves. And I would be Mo 1. That was one of the top places I used to pull women when I lived in LA, was from bookstore like Borders, Barnes & Noble, because women would always be there. Grocery store is an underrated place. A lot of women, single women, be in a grocery store by themselves. I've been Mo 1 with a lot of women in a grocery store. And again, remember, I always have 3 versions. Some guys assume you got to go up and say something X-rated. No, that's Mo 1 hardcore. I got standard Mo 1, then I got Mo 1.5, or what King Sigma likes to call Mo 1 Light, and where you don't have to use any profanity or any X-rated language. But before we drive off, I wanted to quickly echo, I think it's something both Xanatos and Red Pill Ruger, said, one problem I have with this space, you can say the worldwide manosphere, and then more specifically the black manosphere, is 2 points they touched on is related to a poll, an opinion poll I have on my community page. What I hate is that you got guys, I touched on it a little bit earlier in this conversation, King Sing, when I talked about what I call hypocritical enablers. You, for example, here's an example of a hypocritical enabler. You're criticizing women for being highly promiscuous sluts, but yet you're pursuing those same women to fuck them. You're enabling the very behavior that you're passing judgment on and condemning. Same with materialistic gold diggers. Guys do that. They'll be criticizing women for being gold diggers, but yet they buying all these expensive possessions and spending all this big money on women, but then turning around and calling. It's like, nigga, shut the fuck up on the real. Shut the fuck up. I'm tired of all these dudes, just like some dudes like to say they tired of all these dating coaches in the manosphere and game dudes, and that's their opinion if they want to have it. I'm sick of all these whining, complaining, bitch-ass motherfuckers in this space. Always whining about bitches. They too materialistic. They too this. They too that. They ain't worthy of marriage. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up with your hypocritical bullshit. I'm so sick of this shit. This hypocritical shit. You criticize a behavior that you are actively enabling. Shut the fuck up with that noise.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. But Alan, you got another question directed towards you. Then we'll do closing statements. Okay. The Sneak says all these dating coaches, authors selling books, courses, etc., are against tricking because it eliminates the middleman, which is a service they're selling. So they're claiming
it don't affect me at all. I've had guys try to come up with that with me. It don't affect me at all. Because again, I said it when I was having my exchange with Silent Lamont. When I first came out with Mo 1 wasn't about getting pussy anyway. That's the biggest mistake people make about Mo 1. I say in my book, if you read it, I say getting laid is more so the secondary objective of Mo 1. The number one objective of Mo 1 is to prevent women from friend zoning you and just generally causing you to waste time and money when you ain't gonna get no pussy. That's the number one objective with Mo 1. And in that regard, tricking don't take nothing away from my money. My income is going up every fucking year. So ain't nobody can talk shit to me. I ain't scared of motherfuckers who trick. If you want to trick and risk the legal repercussions, go ahead and trick. I ain't trying to stop you. You're a grown-ass motherfucking man. But don't try to stop what I'm doing. Because I'm shit. Don't try to undermine what I'm doing. Because in extreme cases, you know how we handle shit when you about that life. And y'all know what I'm saying.
See, because, yeah, like I was saying earlier, for me, I'm actually a person that is libertarian. So I believe that prostitution should be legal as long as it's educated and it's regulated and it's taxed. But within this climate that we're in, there's only like 2 places in America, Nevada, and I think maybe Atlantic City, where it's legal. So all I'm saying is that while it's still illegal, I just believe that a focus on developing yourself, becoming a better communicator is gonna open up a larger pool of sex to you. I'm not saying that giving a woman $1,000, she's not gonna take it. Yes, that 10 or 9, she's gonna take it. But what I'm saying is that a lot of guys would actually be cool within their the spectrum that they're in, 6'8", whatever it is for that particular guy, if they can get that. And I'm just saying that you don't gotta pay to get that if you would just invest more time into developing yourself and being more well-rounded. That's what I'm referring to.
Now, King Sigma, you know what I'm doing right now?
What's that?
Because of your chat room and the nature of some of my explosions.
Mm-hmm.
Since they cracking jokes about me, I'm gonna play into their jokes. A couple people said, ARC, his blood pressure going up, man. He gonna need to take his blood pressure medicine. If you hear this sound effect in the background, I'm taking my blood pressure medicine, man.
Y'all about,
King Sigma's live stream.
Y'all about to get that man a stroke, man. Y'all leave that old brother alone, man. You got his answer.
Yeah, nah, man. I was just gonna say, look, you want to talk about eliminating the middleman? Go to the damn gym, dude. Shit, I'm not even the most extroverted guy out there. I mean, I'm more 1.5 myself, and for me, when it comes to tricking and prostitution, I'm with King Sigma. Look, I think it should be legalized and regulated so that we can have just an open market about it, nothing closed behind the scenes, so we have to risk sex trafficking and all that other kind of goofiness. But yeah, look, getting the sire sex is way different than getting what do they call it, chore sex or that kind of BS. And what ARC is stating, like it or not, it helps you eliminate those who don't want to give it up to you. And a lot of these guys, I hate to say it, a lot of these guys who are complaining, they probably don't have the simple three things. And that's a steady job, their own place, and a good mode of transportation. Because when I got those three things, that's what really made the difference for me, honestly, when it came to getting chicks, regardless if I use Mode 1 or not. Yeah, there were times in which I didn't have all three of those things, and I fared well. Granted, you know what the thing is? A lot of these guys, particularly in this space, are looking for a particular archetype kind of woman. And that archetype kind of woman is either the Instagram thought or the sister girl, not to be confused with all black women, but the sister girl with the snapback and the attitude. And a lot of these guys have fallen short, as have I, with getting those kind of women. The only difference is that a lot of these guys either aren't willing to or don't have the capability to get a woman outside of those two archetypes, whether it's dating outside the race or dating a black woman outside of that sister girl archetype mentality. And they're just frustrated about it to the point that they're just raging at anyone and everyone that they can. And as far as the dating coaches are concerned, it seems like a lot of those dating coaches, particularly the legitimate ones who are giving good advice, such as yourself, Rom Wills, even well, your rival, I'll just say your rival, you know what I'm talking about.
And I don't think Ron Wills is a big proponent of tricking and leading with your wallet, from what I understand.
No, he isn't, and that's probably the reason why they go after him just as ferociously as they do ARC. And I think a lot of these guys are just collateral damage for that general frustration of not getting either the Instagram thought type or the sister girl type, particularly without either having to pay for it or without having to compromise themselves, aka jester maxing or thug maxing or any of that kind of goofiness. In my case, yeah, I struggled getting with particularly the sister girl kinds in high school, or whatever, but I compensated by going after, the shy, silent, first generation American or immigrant born kind of chick, or just a non-black chick who wasn't into the hood stuff. I don't get why a lot of people just can't do that. And even in that case, it was like, just, be yourself. Yeah, do the Mode 1 thing. And now, dude, every single time I go on a date, I don't do Mode 1, but I always hint at something that indicates that this is not going to be a platonic relationship between you and I. And most of the time, whether they take it or not in the first date, they understand that, oh, he has the balls. He's not that shy. And eventually, we either end up doing the thing or we don't. But I don't waste time.
Xanatos, the funny thing, though, is that if there's one criticism I do not have of American black women, it's when it comes to them wanting to have sex with you. In my experience, and just watching black women, being with black women, being raised by black women, to me, they're the most aggressive sexually if they want to have sex with you. Like black women, if they think you're sexually desirable, they will make it clear. Of all women I've ever dealt with, it's never been more clear that a woman wants to have sex with me than when a black woman is sexually attracted to me. They don't have no fear of like social consequence for the most part. And that's why I've always believed that black women and white men are the most sexually free and unrestricted in America. Because in my experience with black women, they'll just tell you. They don't care who's around. They'll tell your own mom, hey, I want to be with your son. Or they'll tell your sister, I'm going to fuck your brother. I've had a woman tell my sister something like that before because she wasn't what I would date. You know, I'm considered more of the 9-to-5 kind of black dude in the Midwest, but I come from a family of working class. So my sister will have, you know, around the way girlfriends that are not typically my type, more like the girl next door type of female. But they will just say it when I'm visiting her. Oh, I'm going to get your brother. You know what I'm saying? So in my experience, black women, I don't get just all this calculus that guys are doing to get an American black woman. Black women, if they want to be with you, you typically don't have to do much, but just be available. But with that, if you guys could, you know, put y'all last stream in the comment section so brothers can find y'all, put your Cash App, and then we just do the closing round. You guys got it.
You mean in the private chat?
No, put it in the public chat so that they can find. I already put yours in there, Alan, but put your Patreon and your Cash App info for the people.
Can you give me a wrench?
Oh, I didn't even know you. Yeah, you got to put a comment in the chat for me to wrench you up.
Oh, okay, okay.
And Xanatos, you got the mic, man. We're going to do a closing statements right now.
Nah, I just want to give salute to you, King Sigma. ARC, salute to you. I know everyone's not going to agree with what everyone says and that Moat 1 ruffles feathers or whatnot, but what would you rather have, Moat 1 or the mystery art of becoming a man mode or all this sort of kind of stuff? It's in the game kind of crap. Really, if you're going to go after dating coaches, go after the right ones. Go after the ones that are actually giving you nebulous BS advice instead of concrete evidence or just concrete actual step-by-step stuff. Ease off the ARCs, all right, people. And King Submit, keep up what you're doing. You're doing good work. You're going against the narrative that the Manosphere space is a bunch of bitter guys and guys who decided to trick or guys who just use misogynist speak but hide behind avatars. So all this silliness is what's going to ruin the Manosphere more than anyone on the outside, more than more than anyone else, more than feminists, more than male feminists, more than whatever. It's a silliness that a lot of these guys push and a lot of these guys support because the real talker dudes here don't get a lot of support. We know it. And yeah, stop it. Get some help. Shout out to both of you. You all have a good day.
All right, bro. You have a good Sunday.
Respect to you, Xanatos.
Hey, no problem. Respect.
Yeah, I would just say in closing, I want to thank all the guys who I've seen in chat room. I've seen at least probably a few guys from my Patreon who are Patreon supporters, man, just regularly support my channel, and I saw them defending me as they always do in the chat room. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, King Sigma, for inviting me up, even though there was a few, as I like to call them, explosive. Now, here's the interesting thing. I'm going to bring up MLT one more time. Here's the interesting thing about MLT that most people don't understand or realize. Even though you saw him go at me today and he's going at me a few other times, two things about MLT that people will find interesting. MLT used to be a Patreon subscriber of mine. Back in the latter half of 2017, between roughly June and December of 2017, MLT used to be a Patreon subscriber of mine. Secondly, MLT has very frequently promoted my book, The Beta Male Revolution. He loves that book. So for those who might think he just has just total hatred for me, he doesn't. He used to be my supporter, and he never talks badly about my book, The Beta Male Revolution. He calls that the best book I've ever read.
But you got to be fair though to MLT though, like that is his basic premise though, is that he considers himself the counter to online gurus. I don't know if he puts you in that category, but I do know that he feels that most, if not all, of online gurus are frauds. So that, you know, that's kind of his perspective though.
Yeah, I understand. That's his.
I don't know if he puts you in that category or not. You would know better than me, but
Well, he just keeps saying that I need. He wants what known in the PUA community as an infield video. He's always keeps saying, "I want to see an infield video." Well, he ain't gonna see that now at 58, and I'm married. So, and even when I was younger, like in the 2000s, when I was in the Manosphere, I mean, because most of those things are fake. That's what guys don't realize.
Yeah,
Most of those infield videos, I've seen them made, dude. I've seen them behind the scenes. There was a popular Caucasian, I ain't gonna say his name. He was doing an instructional video for other PUAs on how to make fake PUA infield videos. And the ones that are not just flat out fake are a combination of illegal and unethical. You can't secretly record or secretly audio tape women. They can take, if you don't have them sign a waiver form, they can take you to court and sue you. So I'm not down with them, but that's his main thing. He's like, oh, I want to see an infield video. But yeah, he regularly promotes the Beta Male Revolution. So, but yeah, my all my books are on Amazon.com, my audiobooks are on Audible.com, and I just appreciate the discussion.
And again, in closing, I would just say, thank you for coming on ARC. Hey, we all got critics. It's just part of the game. But I would just say that you guys really should go watch Alan's video when he's talking about, the promotion of prostitution and the danger of it. Because at the end of the day, there's not one manosphere. There's different spheres. There's different tribes within the space. And it shouldn't be a situation where people are forced to be in just one single tribe and have only one perspective. Because to me, that would destroy the whole reason for the space existing if it was just one universal opinion. There's millions of black men on the planet. We have different views on things, but one thing I think that we all can agree on is that anti-misandry is an important thing for us to speak on and go against the propaganda that tends to denigrate black men. So I'll just leave it with that. You guys have a great Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. You have a good one, ARC.
You too.